interested now.
on what do they think the first question I asked was, what do you think is a feasible age to get married?
Okay.
And this were people that was my age. The ones that are supposed to be setting the narrative, they got children. They were talking about 35, 40 years old. That's crazy.
Okay. Did you tell them that was crazy?
Some people were saying this is some crazy, and it was mostly men that were saying this. My daughter won't get married. I don't want my daughter to get married until she's about 45, 50 years old because of fear. This is people that got children. How does it look? That's what I'm asking. How does it look? I understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
I want the same thing, but how do we set that narrative when we have a vast majority of people that don't even look at marriage as a ends?
Okay, so
to building a community.
But I told you can't save everybody. But JT, if somebody told you that they wanted their daughter to get married at 45, which sounds kind of idiotic, the first thing I would say, do you want your daughter to have children?
Remember, I told you.
Wait, hold on. Well, hold on. What I'm saying, just because somebody tells you something, that doesn't mean you have to go along with it. And even if they don't change their mind, you got to just say, listen, does that really make sense? And whatever they choose is what they choose. But that doesn't stop you from saying, okay, you told me what you thought, but have you thought about X, Y, and Z?
It's not just that, Arpay.
Okay. All right.
Listen, it's not just that.
I know.
I just told you it's not cap. Hundreds of thousands. This is throughout the years. Yeah, Facebook groups, all these different things. At the time, most of these people's kids were either 13 to 16 or probably about 15, 16, right?
Right.
Those kids now are in their late 20s and 30s now.
Okay.
And guess what? From hearing what those parents were saying on the sample that I had, that's what it looks like now. The narrative is not to get married because you can't trust nobody. I'm asking
I hear you. So are you saying we shouldn't even try to make the? We shouldn't try to make the.
No, I'm the problem right there in front of you. Listen, I'm not saying not to do it. I'm asking, how does it look when it is the pendulum is not swinging towards marriage? It's swinging towards not even. It's like independence, be on your own. All of this crazy ass shit.
And you're correct. So I'm asking you, if you don't keep trying to push the pendulum back, what do you suggest to do? Nothing.
I'm asking, how does it look to do it?
I just told you. Because every year there's new kids coming up, and all you need is to have a critical mass of people thinking a little bit differently. I try to do that for my kids. It didn't work out. I told them when they went to college, you ain't gonna have a better pool of eligible bachelors in one place than you ever will have in your life. Right? You could take advantage of that, or you can't, but I can't force them to do anything. So one of my daughters found somebody that she was really close to. It didn't work out. The other one, she was more concentrated on her career of music and this and that. Well, she's still kind of young. But all I'm just saying is what we say, and against all odds, you can't change anything unless some people want to be pioneers. Now, I'm saying, if we start talking about that on some of these panels, if it makes sense, let's just talk about it. Now, I just started with one example of an older man. He didn't have to be 40, who married a 19-year-old girl, and they got 2 kids now. She's 22, 23. And all I'm saying is that doesn't have to be the model for the future. I'm not saying it should, but one of the factors is that she's younger. We all know that older men kind of don't want to marry older women because they're not groomable. Not in this day's age, right? Because men complain about that shit all the time. So what do? They have to go a little younger, 25, whatever. And then we know that all women and some men tell their kids to have a whole phase. Go enjoy your 20s, free love, travel, and all that shit. Okay, then I'm asking the women, Tell me what's the outcome. Those are the same women on TikTok at 30 years old crying in their milk. We could go to TikTok right now and put up 100 videos of 30-year-old women crying on how they fucked up. So what I'm saying, if we don't change the narrative, some people ain't going to be saved. I'm not saying we're going to save them either. I swear to God, I'm not. I'm saying, but if we don't start changing the conversation, nothing's going to happen, right? And let me also say, I think we underestimate some Gen Zers. I think we're underestimating them. I really do. Because the ones who come to TikTok TikTok and social media have a certain bent in this goddamn fishbowl that we're in. But some of them have some good sense. They're talking about work-life balance. There was a sister, she was like 23 years old. I had a video of her. She's talking about work-life balance, and she included marriage. Where did she get that from? So I'm just saying it's not all lost. Everybody's not crazy out there. It's just a matter if we could reach them, but it depends on when we start changing the narrative. Now, I don't disagree with anything you just said, but it could be overwhelming how big the problem is. But if we don't say, let's bite off a little piece, we'll never get anywhere, because nobody has the solution. Nobody has the absolute solution. Nobody. I don't. I'm telling you, I don't. This is just something in my head, and that's it.
No, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and the only thing I can actually come up and say how to be effective with it would be that it start with the parents, right?
Some parents will be. Some parents will comply.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter to me if the guy was older or younger.
Right.
I think I have a problem with a lot of these things because for the most part, I just say specifically, the father is not involved in that process, right? I think that's one of the problems. I think the other thing is that there's no ideology to having what they would consider, I guess, a prosperous marriage, right? Or the beginning of having one, right? Or having a great relationship for marriage. I just don't think that the parents are who is supposed to be there. I think that's what the biggest problem is. You don't have the parents right there being a part of that process. It's kind of like we all, when we first get out, we on our own. We on our own, picking somebody, dating them. And nowadays, like where the generation is now, expect the daughters don't even let their parents even know who they really dating. They'll bring a boy that they cool with in front of them. You don't know who's their friend, who's the one they're dating or nothing, because they're not open with that. So this is what I'm saying. How does it look? Because a lot of them, they're just not honest with their parents. And the parents, in my opinion, would be the tool to making it better, getting them to marriage and having a long lasting marriage. When they're not involved, it's just showing why the problems are what they are, because you don't have a communal type of vetting. I think it's just they on their own. We all on our own at some point.
Let me say this real quick before we bring in TJ. He had a request, so I want to do this before the request. I will say this. I happened to see, I was talking to my brother yesterday, and we were talking about a video. It was like a short video of this family. They're not black, of course, but they got married. And when they got married, the father traditionally, the father paid for his daughter's entire wedding. She had a great job, great career. The son had a great job, great career. They got married. After they were married, this is what took place once they became husband and wife. The parents from both sides, mom and dad from one side, mom and dad from the man's side, came together and came up with a plan for their children. Even though they were married, they said, we have a 5-year plan. For 2.5 years, the husband and the wife will live with us. They won't pay any bills. They won't pay any debts. They will take their yearly income. They cannot touch it. They will take their yearly incomes and they will combine them and put them in accounts to save them. 2.5 years. Once that 2.5 years is up, they go to he goes to his in-laws' house for 2.5 years, and they repeat the same thing. On the 5th year, coming out of the 5th year, going into the 6th year, everything that they've acquired. So if he's making it, they're both making 6 figures a year. So if they're making 6 figures a year for 5 years, he has $500,000, she has $500,000, they're millionaires. They go after they're on their 6th year, they go and purchase a car, pay for it, purchase a home, pay for it, takes the rest of the money, and then start investing in the family that they're starting to create. Right. We don't do that in our communities.
Well, you're right. You're right, but you just said it though, right? You just put an idea out there. That's where it starts.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say. That's where it starts. You know what? My kids ain't mad. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. You're good. Go ahead.
What you just said is what I did for my daughter.
Yeah,
they're not married.
Yeah.
I wish they were, but that's exactly what I did. They came back home after college. And they banked all their money. They don't pay me anything. And the deal was that they bank as much as their money as they possibly can, right? And they all have, they max out their 401ks. They got their Roth IRA on the outside. They got savings accounts. They got all that stuff. They're starting to look at real estate, a little bit of crypto here and there. And when my oldest daughter, she gave up a scholarship to go to Rutgers. And I said, listen, anything over that I can't pay for, you got to get a loan.
Be right back,
brother. Like she had $35,000 worth of loans. She paid back. So when she actually left the house 7 years later, I gave her the money back. She didn't know I was going to do that. I wanted her to feel the pinch of paying fucking bill. Right? I gave her the money back. So, I mean, I'm not, like I said, I thought what you just said, I wish she was married, but I would have probably did the same thing. I would have probably did that same thing. So, but it's the narrative that, see, when I say the narrative, I mean, it's what we talk about here. Right. We don't know who we're going to reach, right? And everything has to start like a small snowball at the top of the hill. And we're not going to save everybody. And I'm not saying I'm right. It's just a possible solution, not the solution, right? For some people, and we know it's going to be a lot of people who ain't going to hear it. And that's fine. That's what right. That's life.
And before we before we go any further, Information Man, welcome to the show tonight. My brother TJ, welcome to the show tonight. TJ had a request. He said he had a request for me before he said anything. I want to get his input, but he had a request. What is your request, sir?
You frozen?
Yeah, my pastor got to bring me in.
Oh, your pastor? Okay. All right, TJ, your pastor brought you in, guy. What is your thoughts on the conversation tonight, my brother?
Okay, just give me a few minutes, guys, because I'm going to have to bounce because I'm at work. But I want to first acknowledge something that Mr. Bennett pointed out a little while ago. See, I'll be listening. I'll be taking care of patients. I'll have you in my ear. Mr. Bennett pointed out something about the maturity level. The reason why there's a little bit of a problem with age gap dating right now is because you got probably a 15-year maturity gap, meaning if you got a guy that's a guy or lady that's 40, she acts and behaves like a 25-year-old. And it's hard, you know what I mean, if you're a guy who's kind of settled, to then go back and deal with a woman that is, she might be chronologically old, but her development and maturity level is that still of like an adolescent. And so you get into a situation where outside of fucking, you're going to be just talking to her, treating her, talking to her like a child, because she's going to be behaving like a child. And that's going to cause a lot of problems. So we have that. And so let me go back a little bit. Black Man Unfiltered. I'm looking at the screen. Bunch of old niggas up here. I'm not excluding Trey Ferg. He got that, he got the fountain of youth.
I'm sorry, what?
He made a deal with the devil with that good looking, But Black Men Unfiltered, I think you and me are probably about the same age. I'm 46. Yeah, I'm 46.
I'm 40.
You're 40. Okay, listen. The women
I'm 40.
The women of our generation. I'm talking about, and there's got to be a cutoff. So I'm talking about 75 to 85. Us born there. We're the products. Our parents were the children of the 60s. And their mothers taught them feminism. Our mothers embraced feminism. When we came along, the girls and the guys of that group, when we came along, there was probably about there's still probably about 50% of our families intact. Our generation had the ability to correct it because there were still enough intact families when we grew up. Black Men Unfiltered, we had grandma and grandpa together.
Yes.
Half of our friends had their mother and father together.
Yes.
The problem came in is that our female counterparts started behaving with irrational fear. They became indoctrinated with what I call the fake Ike Turner syndrome. That our mothers, we saw the deterioration of those marriages and our friends, and at that point, every black man became Ike Turner. And the women in our group, if you talk to them today, they talk as if every last one of them were getting dog walked every day by every man. But when you ask them directly, they have never experienced it. Never. And so now our generation of women and men, because we're raised in we're the first generation of the single parent household, our women and our men, our generation, we're the ones teaching our 20-year-old kids not to fucking get married. We're doing it. Black men, I'm just using you and I because we're the same generation.
Yeah.
You and I are not doing it, but goddamn well the women and the men of our generation is preaching this bullshit to our younger women. And our group fucking knows better because we've seen it work.
Yes.
We were the last generation that saw it work.
Yeah.
But because we got indoctrinated because of that feministic movement, that independence, that government for our daddy bullshit, you know what I mean? I don't want to take up a lot of time because there's a lot of deep. So my question is, how the fuck do we unbake a cake?
How do it look?
I got a person that can answer that for you right beside you. Information Man, you heard him. If you could give us some insight on what you just heard from TJ, how do we unbake the cake?
Well, let me ask the fundamental question here.
Mm-hmm.
Are men supposed to be the leaders of not only your household but the community?
Is
Yes.
that a general question or directed toward me?
It's a general question to everybody. Are men supposed to be the leaders of the household and the leaders of the community? That's a general question for everybody.
I object to the question, Your Honor.
All right. I'll go on here. Who is the majority in these communities that are raising the kids?
Mothers.
Our ladies.
Yes.
So I've heard this 1,000 times on YouTube all the time. Black men, we shouldn't have to be the cleanup men for the community, and we shouldn't have to clean up what another man didn't do, blah, blah, blah. Our boys are getting gay or getting this or getting that. And I've said it before, as long as men of distinction and honor are not engaging with males, how are they supposed to learn masculinity? And from that, how are we supposed to rebake the cake? The cake can't be rebaked if the same shit and the trends continue to happen. So my responsibility as a man is to impart upon my daughter, raise her the right way, do my job, and then also be an outstanding leader in my community, leading by not just your words, but by your examples of what you do. Because remember, when you lead by example, young men are watching you. That's why we have mentor programs, Trey, you know what I'm talking about. That's why we have go to college, go to high school, go to college if you can. Or we have Project Alpha where we deal with young black males. Don't we have that, Trey? Don't we have a history of 117 years of doing that in our organization? Building better men by example, leadership, and mentorship. Isn't that what we do? Which is why I hate the conversations when people say, oh, our community is doomed. Not every black man is out here doing doomed shit. So to me, that's how it has to start. You change the narrative by changing the leadership by doing what? Promoting manhood while black men are involved with young black males to teach them the way, because the women can't teach them. And as long as they're raising the kids, this situation will never change. And therefore, you already have in the Gen Z community or in the population where these kids are not wanting to get married because they don't like the dating experience for them personally. TJ, you said something that was spot on, brother, that you have generations of men that are sending this poison to the next generations and saying, don't get married, don't do this and that. Well, brother, brother, that comes with leadership. Because if men are putting that message out to our young men, young ladies, or young men in particular, that's what? That's poor leadership. And we know that leadership reflects attitude. So if the kids are going to have an attitude negative towards marriage and building family, where the fuck do they get it from? You just said that, which means they're not getting proper leadership. They're not getting proper examples.
And here's I hear you.
And I'll stop right there. I know I've said a mouthful, TJ.
No. I hear you, and trust and believe. What I'm about to say doesn't mean I disagree with you.
Yes,
but
I'll listen to you, brother.
Okay. I hear all of that about leadership. And I'm not defending or nothing like that about my statement, but listen.
Yes, sir.
You have a lot of guys in my generation saying what we're saying because of the outcomes that we have received. We've received lack of cooperation for our women. When we try to be mentors or come in and play the cleanup man, the moment that woman doesn't, they think we're going too hard or they're not getting what they think we should be doing for them, then they sick their guard dogs on us, which is the white men in the system, to prevent. And now, shout out to this last Tuesday flipping over the table, when you got different states now saying if a woman can show cause that you are playing a fatherly role, we can financially rate you for it and incarcerate you for it. You know what I mean? That removes incentive. So these guard dogs are in place to disincentivize us from even if we want to be the cleanup man.
Okay.
It's like we're Nigeria fighting the United States in the nuclear war. There's no win for that. You know what I mean? And so I understand when I hear you say the leadership comes from us. But you have to understand, our generation, me and Black Men Unfiltered's generation of men, we weren't taught that. A lot of us are not coming into understanding what that means and what that looked like. We're 40 years old,
Right.
just now starting to understand what we have to do.
So I would say respectfully to you, the only way the cycle is broken is that you have to have men to change the narrative with other young men. Now, I'm not saying that we're responsible for everybody in the community because, right? But I'm saying if you have a son, Trey introduced his sons to us, and they were shining examples of what he did as a father, of what he's doing as a father. So I'm saying we're responsible for our tribe first. And maybe we can change that narrative by how we raise our sons, our nephews, and those that are in our circle first, right? And that's what we're mainly responsible for. And maybe we could change this cycle. So now if you got a son or someone that you're close to, a male that you're close to in your family, you could change that cycle, TJ, by having a positive influence on him, which is a reflection of your leadership.
Yep. To your point, that I got about to your point, I have a 22-year-old nephew that I just talked to yesterday. Since high school, he has a group. My nephew, his mother Hispanic, my brother's Black. So, and my nephew is genetically gifted. He's a beautiful young man in a lot of good shape. You know what I'm saying? He just ain't 6 foot. But for him, that ain't gonna fucking matter. That's how good looking the boy is.
Mm-hmm.
I told my nephew, I said, nephew, listen, I'm going to talk to you the way your white boy that their father is about to start talking to them. You got about 6 to 8 more months of playtime. Then we got to start. I said, the white boys are going to tell their young sons, they're not going to tell them it's time to figure it out. They're going to tell them what to go do, and they're going to go do it. And I told my nephew, I said, listen, I'm the only professional male in the family on my generation level. There is nobody up. You're the on your level. I'm sorry to put this burden on you, but you're next up.
Right.
I said to you, I said because of your personality, because of who you're surrounded with, I said those white boys that you roommate with and all that good stuff, that's your wolf pack. I want you to move with them, which means you're gonna start. I said, I think you will do well as a law enforcement officer, and I fucking hate the police. I said, but I think you will do well as a law enforcement officer. It'll give you some direction, some discipline. And I said, by the time you're 25, you'll have at least a $60,000 your salary. By the time you're 30, you'll be over 100K. You damn near won't get fired. You have a fucking pension, and you'll get to move forward with your wolf pack. If you don't do that, next year, those dudes that you with, they won't even know your name. And I told him, and after I said, whatever you're going to find yourself into, you're going to start having to think about a long-term woman. You don't want to be out here playing stepdaddy to somebody else's fucking crumb snatch kids. I said, so this conversation I had with my nephew just yesterday. And I told my nephew, I know I sound fucking crazy to you. I know that. But I'm going to give you 6 to 8 months to absorb, to think about, and I'll hit you back up in that time. I'm not going to talk to you to the end because I want you to continue to have your fun. I love what you're doing, but you ain't going to be out here like this. I said, and the reason why I can walk you, I said, your own daddy can't walk you through this because my brother's still out here at 40-something years old on fuck shit. I said, your uncle can go through it. But yes, and I don't want him out here thinking about age gap dating. I want him to get his woman where he's at and build a life. That's my contribution because I could touch and put my hands on him and can't no gatekeeper come and keep me away from my nephew. You know what I mean? So, so to your point, you know what I mean, that we got to try to do something, and it might be just on a micro level that we can do it at, but, you know, this here, from my generation, it's to sit with it and think about it. If I'm not, like, I'm a divorced man, but if you, black men of filter age, my age, and you ain't got it yet, you're fucked. I don't care how much money you got. I'm a guy with means. You're out here fucked. And if you're talking about, well, I'm going to go get me a 35-year-old, well, your 35-year-old acts like a 20-year-old. The fuck you gonna do with that? And she doesn't see herself as an old woman, even though she is. She sees herself as a 19, 20-year-old. The 35-year-old woman today, black woman, sees herself no differently than a 25-year-old woman. They think they're the same, and they're not.
All right, information man. You want to respond to that? Then we'll go around the
I have
the
no
horn.
rebuttal to his points because they were well made and crafted. I agree with him.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Bennett, what are your thoughts so far after welcome. I'm sorry, Black David. Welcome, Black David, to the show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate
well,
you.
actually, I would
Real
like.
quick. Real quick, sorry for you going. What's up, JT? I get to speak to the rest of the fellas on the panel. I'm at the slave house, so I don't want to get whipped. So, so
I'm sorry, what?
I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'll probably hope I'm gonna keep watching and listening. But this Black Men Unfiltered, what the fuck you doing over here, man? This is God's work. I don't give a fuck. There might be 25 or 30 or 40 people over here. You're gonna be in the hundreds soon because the conversations over here, man, they hit to the heart and the bone. They do. They fucking do. Gentlemen, I'll be watching from the clouds. And salute to the chat, y'all.
I love you, bro.
Appreciate you, brother.
Most definitely.
Be safe out there, man.
Amen. Amen.
All right, appreciate it. But so, Mr. Bennett, go ahead. You were to say something?
Yeah, actually, I'd like to tee up grooming a little bit on this here. This is one we haven't really heard his perspective yet. But we talked about some of this on our Gray Area podcast on Sunday nights. And one thing I found unique about the Greek culture, and I'll let him talk about it, people generally get married older, which I was shocked about, like much older. Groomy, you wanna lead in, and how does that affect, I guess, Greek society, or what do you make of people marrying younger, especially in this country, but based on Greek culture, since I know a lot of this is to the Black community, but just to get another perspective, how Greeks do it.
Before I do that, I want to actually put a mindset, everybody, about the Greek culture. As little as you are, like a little shit, 2, 3, 4 years old, the first thing you'll hear from your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, your aunts, your cousins, even the dog, when are you going to marry and when are you going to have kids? That is the narrative. That is the whole saying in my fact, Greek women raise Greek kids, who raise more Greek kids, who raise more Greek kids. Yeah, it's actually facts. That's a fact thing. So we do get married later in age because you're mature enough. You're not ready to be married at 21, 22, 35. Because simple. You don't know what you want out of life. Do you want to be a mother? Do you want to be a little whore? Do you want to be a gold digger? Or do you just want to be a fucking bitch? Which one is it? It's up to you. So older you get, you get groomed into that position, like from your mom teaching you how to cook, how to clean, how to take care of a man, how to treat a person correctly, respectful. This is why you see most Greek women married older. One of my friends was 39 when he got married. His wife was 36, 37, around there. Not much difference. But they got married. My parents got married very, very late, too. That's normal for me. Now I see people getting married. Look at me. Like, you don't have kids yet? I'm like, why would I have kids yet? Because I'm in the perfect age to actually find a mate. Not when I was 21. When I was 21, I cared about just going to the bars and getting tail and split. I wasn't thinking about getting married at the time. Now, it's different. It's funny how things turn around. See how people don't want to get married. I use my cousin, for example. He's Greek, 100% like myself. Raised similar. My mom's brother. He doesn't want to get married. He doesn't care about getting married. He just care about his kid having his last name. He's living with his girl. He doesn't care about it. I do care about it. How can you call yourself a king of your castle if you don't have a wife with your last name? How can you call her your queen if she does not have your name? I call that a woman just there because of need right now. It doesn't have your last name. I don't understand that. I don't understand it personally. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying I don't understand that. If somebody can please educate me how that works in men's mentality, please tell me, because if you're gonna have kids and start a family, don't you want to do it correctly? Like, like RP did it, BMU did it, and some other guys on this panel married. Paul, for example. Don't you guys want to get married? When are you not? I just don't. I don't want to process that. I don't understand that. You're going through everything. You buy a house, you buy a car, you have a dog, you have 3 kids, but you don't want to get married. I have somebody I know. She's been with the same person for years. 3 kids, never been married. So it's not a black thing. It's not a Spanish thing, and it's not a Greek thing. It's just people being stupid, in my opinion.
And grooming, does that have the fact that you said you got women who are basically waiting until they're over 35 to get married and to have kids for the first time? That doesn't cause any issues in terms of, again, we talk about geriatric pregnancy, women wait until over 30 to have a kid, how it's increased risk when you wait that long before having kids, but it seems like it's not an issue with the
I never heard a factor until I came here about that. And I work in the healthcare. Made that clear. I work in healthcare, and I the one floor I stay away from because I'm not brave enough is maternity for a reason. I'm not that brave. I'm stupid, but not brave enough. Maternity, I've seen women age 35, 36, 37, 40s. I've seen up there. I have literally someone I know. She's 47 having her second kid. She has a high risk pregnancy because of other complications during her health. I never seen that here. Dude, I got here. Maybe it's an American thing.
No, well, and I'll say this as well. My aunt, she, bless her soul, she passed away last year. She had her first kid, but she got pregnant, right? And when she got pregnant, she got married at 40, right? Got pregnant after 40. She had a miscarriage. The 5th time was the baby, right? She called him her miracle baby, right? And due to that, the doctor says that, ma'am, you're 43, you're 44, you're 45. Like your body is not equipped to take this much pressure. And she had issues with her. She had issues with her blood pressure. She had issues when she was trying to have the baby, blood pressure, bleeding, all type of stuff. Wake up in the middle of the night, blood all over the bed, lost another one. Like she just went through a lot. And so just to see her at that age going through, I'm like, God damn, like I wouldn't want, talking to my daughters, if you're going to have a family, baby, don't wait until you're in your 40s, late 30s and early 40s or late 40s to have a kid. Like it's just so much to deal with that, like Mr. Bennett was just saying, that the risks are just astronomical for women after 40 years old trying to have a kid.
And there could be some environmental factors to that. Like, I don't know, maybe Greek culture, we always talk about like the Mediterranean diet. Maybe it's their diets. Maybe it's something about just their overall health compared to the American diet that might be healthier, which is why women can have children later without the complications. So it's a lot of factors there. But I just found that particular show and that conversation to be most striking, because I would have thought that Greek, especially it's a Greek the whole country is essentially Greek Orthodox. So you would have thought that young marriage and things, that would have been the culture. And so I was surprised when he was talking about how, again, most people wait. And I don't know if it doesn't necessarily have an impact on Greek culture or society or what have you. So I don't know if necessarily age is the issue or the age gap, because people tend to get married similar in age. But
I'm going to answer being useful.
Real quick, Rumi. You ain't ready. Thank you for being here tonight, my brother. I've never met you before, but it's your first time on, man. Thank you for being here tonight. And Groom, before you go, I just want to get something from him first, from him just coming in.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you good. You ain't ready. What do you have for us tonight, man, on the topic? You've been listening, and what do you have?
Yeah, man. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be here. From my accent, you can know that I'm an African, but I live here in Maryland. So I think the reason why old men are marrying the younger ladies is just because society in general, right? Women, like statistically right now, women are more successful than men, right? So you see more women making more money, well educated than men. And then you have less men who have attained that height. And naturally, women don't date, they only date across and above. They don't date below or in the middle, right? So you have a lot of women fighting for a few men who are on top there, who are making the 6 figures and above. And they don't have a bunch of them. And eventually, you see these young girls, when they attain their heights, it takes a while for a man to grow up to that place. Maybe he's in his 40s or 45. Then he wants to have kids. The only option he has is to go down to 20 something, and he gets married to someone who's 20 something. And another thing is, people, this present society already right now don't know the definition of marriage. A situation whereby a girl in her 30s still thinks she has all the time to get married and have kids. Someone who is 30, and then part of her criteria is that the man has to have a good credit score. You see someone saying, no, he has to have a good credit score. That's one of the criteria to get married. Like, people don't really understand the definition of marriage, the purpose of marriage, why people have to get married. That's just the issue. And it's that bad. If you're out there in the dating pool, I'm a young man I'm at the stage where I want to settle down now, but it's difficult. You don't even see the wife material. You don't see the wife material. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, and how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 34.
34? All right, man. Well, listen, good luck to you, brother. Good luck to you. Now, now, thank you for being here. We have another African on the panel tonight who has not spoken yet. Black David, our Nigerian.
I'm surprised he's awake for once.
Right. Black David, what are your thoughts on what we've been talking about so far? And then we'll go around the room again. Go ahead.
This one of my straight to the heart conversation, because for one, me being a Nigerian, we grew up in a way whereby we were taught at a young age, like I said before, about marriage. When I hear our parents talk about how we supposed to raise our kid, and I see Anita asking about, are we ready to be husband and wife? It made me have to look back all the research I've been doing over the years when I look at other ethnic group and I look at the Black community. What is the difference between all of them? Like my fellow African brother, we know this very, very well. We are taught at a young age based on the conduct we see our elders, that means our father, our uncle, or our big brother, how they conduct them, how they move in society. It's an ongoing process. The daughters, if you do not know how to cook, I don't think you understand this. I know he understand what I'm talking about. You cannot be a daughter to a woman in an African nation and you don't know how to cook. But the first thing they're going to look at is, who's your mother? What has she been doing? You can't cook, you can't sew, you can't clean, you can't do this. What are you good for? Because he knows that as well. If you get married to somebody else and that person has to find out you don't have the required skill, it brings shame to that woman and also to that household. I'm sure it's similar to other culture. When we talk about people getting married at their older age in the Greek, I already knew this. Any country outside the U.S. have a unique diet that benefit their environment. Our diet in Africa is very, very different compared to the one in Greek. But the Greek diet is only adapted to the environment they live in, same to our own diet. In both aspects, it's pure. There's no heavy process going on in the food. Not trying to offend, the food coming straight from the farm, goes straight to the home. They ain't going to no factory. That's a unique difference. So yes, when my family came to Nigeria, we hear about people having complications in pregnancy. That's weird. Because my brother over here, he understands that. You should joke about women who got 9 kids, 10 kids, and still popping out more kids, and they stay healthy. I hate to say that that's not like the norm in Africa.
So let me ask you this, Black David. The age gap, since we're talking about Nigeria, and with the subject we're talking about older men dating and marrying younger women, What is that age gap in Africa, right? What is the youngest? Like if you have a 35-year-old man, right? Like you ain't ready here, 35-year-old man. You know what's the lowest of age that he'll be able to marry or to bond with or to court?
You want me to be real honest with you?
Can you also
Be real honest?
Can you also just add to that what age it typically? Again, I know you guys are saying African, but Africa is a continent, so different countries.
I'll use
within Africa may have different standards,
Nigeria.
but for Nigerian, what's the average age of
I'll use
Nigerian
Nigeria
man?
firsthand. Did happen
married?
firsthand
Thank you, Mr.
experience.
Bennett.
I was in high school. My classmate was like 15, 16. She was told by her parent that she had been married off to a man honored to be her grandfather. The dude in his 40s. She is 15, 16. The man paid what they call a dowry. And the amount of dowry he must have paid for her, the mom and dad must have signed off. That is normal. I didn't like it one bit because she was my cool friend. I ain't gonna lie, I did have a crush on this girl while we in high school. But when you hear stuff like that and you a teenager, that someone is marrying off your classmate and they put it on the note to be their father or grandfather, you got no say in it. To be completely honest with you.
Now,
I remember how they commented before that when this stuff happened in arranged marriage, it's either political or it do with dealing with debt.
Now, I will say this. I will say this because even if you come into America, let me get everybody else in here. Art Payne, I think you're the oldest on the panel. And I just want to say this. You know, what is our mindsets on? I know Black David just spoke about, 15, 16 being married off. But let's think about it. My grandmother got married when she was 14. Right? Her and my grandfather stayed married for 60 plus years.
How old was your grandfather?
How
old was your grandfather?
19. Right?
And that's big in I'm just saying that difference, we also got to look at where the age is, because 14 to 19 might be a bigger age gap than say 25 to 35 or 40. So we got to look at that too as well. So that's a huge pretty huge.
And my question was, thinking about going back like into Mr. Payne's day when he was probably 14, 15 years old. That was when he was helping paint the Titanic. But that was,
does he remember that much?
Yeah, that was a time though. That was a time where that was normal, where people
he was still using scrolls.
Man, it was 19 years old. There were 19-year-old men marrying 14-year-old girls. There were 20-year-old men marrying 17-year-old girls or 16. Like, it was normal. And then it got real bad because my grandmother, one of the things she stated to me, and I meant to tell y'all this at the beginning of the show. I had a great conversation with my grandmother about a week ago. If I had a camera, it would go viral. My grandmother just talked about marriage and Woo! I told her I'm coming back, Grandma. We're gonna sit here and have the same conversation again because I need people to hear this. She really gave it to the family.
Please record it, please.
But one of the things that she said was, at 14, grandson, I was able to do at 14 what a 30-year-old woman can't do today.
Yeah.
She said I was able to build things. She said I could go churn butter. I can milk cows. I can work the turn row. I could iron. I could use a washboard to wash clothes. She said I knew the little herbs to use when people got sick. I knew how to wrap up cuts and bruises, and she was just on it.
make ice cream from scratch.
Man, come on. And and she's a hell of a cook, good God Almighty. But my thing is, like, back then, those 14-year-old girls were built that. Today, a 14-year-old girl today don't even know how to do it, can't even cook a Hot Pocket. Right? And the directions is right on the package. So that wouldn't work today. Because, like, again, I had a video of a guy. I don't know if that JT, that's what you got. I had a video of a guy talking about his country versus this one and how they are so much elevated. Their women are so taught at a very young age how to be a wife, how to serve, how to be that thing. And they're just excelling above and beyond us. It's just amazing how far ahead they are over our children here. And we're talking about, a 16-year-old can't marry a 20-year-old, but we're okay with a 6-year-old popping our ass at a daycare center to Sexy Red.
Right.
We'll sexualize our children, but we won't teach them how to be in committed relationships.
We'll smoke weed in front of our children.
Absolutely. So
We'll
anyway,
use vulgar language in front of our children.
Yeah.
We cuss each other out in front of our children.
Absolutely. And so I just wanted to get Arpain in there because I know you helped paint the Titanic. Just real briefly.
You're an asshole.
Real briefly, Arpain, just give us that insight on back in the day when that was okay. Like, what was the mindset then?
Look, the joke just got funnier because of how Arpain was just shaking his damn head to it too.
You muted, Doc. You muted.
Oh, he got a mute mouth.
Okay, every time when I get the mic, right, everybody got to preface the shit with saying just briefly. And I hear you guys go on these long ass diatribes and shit, but the old guy has a clock. Why don't just put a goddamn clock up so I can see the countdown?
No,
this
is what we gonna do, Arpain.
Mayday!
Keep that shit up. You keep it up now. I got it on lock.
DMU, what else do you want me to say besides ask me the question again?
No, I'm saying the mindset back in the day when that was okay, right? When it was okay for a 19-year-old guy to walk up to a man's house and say, "Your 14-year-old daughter, here's a cow, here's some food, here's some wheat. I want to marry you."
Come on, listen. Remember now, when I was of age looking at that stuff, it was 70s. It was like in the 70s. But the bottom line is, we were up north. We didn't marry 14-year-old girls. They had to at least be 18, man. You know what I'm saying? You down in the South where y'all was like, chasing like boa constrictors and shit, man. That's different, man. But people were getting married younger. I mean, they just were. It wasn't uncommon to have a 21 or 19-year-old girl and a guy get married and just going off. Sometimes they did lean on the grandparents. They stayed home for a little while. And then they moved out. I mean, I had several cousins. Everybody was married. That's why I wanted to get married. All my cousins were married. All my uncles and aunts on my paternal side and on my maternal side. Marriage was the thing. So that's why we had the safety nets for all the people from Gen X and the millennials, because we had houses, we had all those kind of things. So if they had to retreat because they did something stupid, they had a place to go. Right? So marriage wasn't frowned upon. Now the narratives that we might have given our children, and from I know the silent generation was pro-marriage. A lot of us in the baby boomer generation were pro-marriage. The older ones, the younger ones. I want to see when you have daughters, and an information man said he had a daughter, I believe, and so did JT, TJ. And not your JT, but TJ has a daughter.
I got two daughters.
So my thing is, if they're still in their formative ages, what are you going to tell them? See, because we have a quandary, just like I did. I wanted my daughters to be self-sufficient. So they had to be able to become adults. They had to, whether they were married or not, they have to take care of themselves. Right? So that got bastardized by feminism into saying you don't need a man. Right, so that's not what I trained them, but they still have to be self-sufficient. I didn't want them to get that crooked. I wanted them to say you could have a job, you could have a PhD, you could have all that shit, but you could also have a husband at the same time. Everybody else is able to do that shit. Oh, some black women act like you can't do it. That's just bullshit. It's a bad narrative. So I made sure that narrative wasn't in my household, and that was the best I could do for my girls, whether they got married or not. My cousins who had kids out of wedlock, I'm the one voice in my whole family that will stand up to them and say, "Hey, listen, if you're still with that girl, how come you ain't married?" I said, the reason why I'm saying that, how would you feel if y'all break up and some other nigga's banging her out and your kids in the next room? Right? Don't you want to be in the house with your kids? Do you like this girl? Do you love this woman? If you do, marry her. Those kind of things. I mean, you can only save who you can save. That's all I can say. Everything else, I like what Information Man says. If you can if you have a group of young men, you could try to change the way they think, then do that, right? Everybody doesn't have that reach, but you can only reach, but you still should reach who you can, right? And that's for some people, that's all you can do. And you shouldn't ask somebody trying to reach further than what they can do, right? You start your family and then your orbit. And if you at least do that, you could maybe start changing the narratives where you can. And that's all. But, I'm used to people being married because I keep the family tree. My family on my father's side from the greatest generation, and my grandfather was a stepdad because my grandmother had a kid at 13. And I didn't know my oldest uncle was not his baby, not his son, until I was a teenager. Because all his siblings, they all treated him like a regular brother because he got adopted. My grandfather adopted him, so he had the same last name we did. So, what?
To add to what you just said, and that was noble of him. Back in the day, that was very noble for someone to step up and take care of someone else's child. Today, we were talking to Information Man, and we'll take a break in a minute because I want to make sure everybody's subscribed to everybody that's on this channel. But we were talking about parentage by estoppel. Information Man, I don't know if you're familiar with what's going on, especially it's happening in your state. I know it's happening in Detroit. I think it's happening in a few other states. It'll grow.
He was on the first. He was on the first edition of that show.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, if you don't know what that is, if you are dating a single mother and you do anything for that child, buy that child something, take that child out, anything, and you break up with her, she could take you to court for spousal. I mean, not spousal. Take you to court for child support. And so
you ain't ready. Why you do that, man?
He said, "What the fuck?" Yeah, she can get you. And just listening to the lawyer talk about that, on how different examples. I even followed him today and watched another video he put out with some guys who actually experienced it. Right? There was a guy that took the woman's son and he worked on a truck with him at his house, and he took him out for pizza and drinks and took him and bought him some clothes because he messed his clothes up. When they broke up, she got child support.
What?
And he's not even the father of the child. It's not even his biological child because he assumed, the court is saying, he assumed responsibility of the child when he started financially investing into the child.
That's some bullshit.
Parentage by estoppel. Information Man, you want to follow up on that?
I think I want to look a little bit deeper into that, whether that's every state is different.
Yeah.
I know that, and I've brought this up to you guys before, that when you are paying child support in California, a good majority of the money is being taken off the top by the state. The state is pimping the system, pimping you in the system, and the child is not even getting the amount of money that they're supposed to get because the state gets their half, right? They get their part.
So as an example, Information Man, real quick, if the state tells you, Information Man, you're paying $500 a month in child support, how much in your mind do you believe that child is actually getting the number? What do you think?
Remember, I went over it. So if you're paying $500, if I'm not mistaken, if you pay $500 to a child in the state of California, California's going to take about, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to take at least $2 of that money. Yeah. A matter of fact, damn it, I wish I had the article because the article broke it down like that. Yeah. So you give your child $500, the state takes $200, so the child only get $300.
Pimping.
The majority of what they take is administrative fees.
Right, but you're absolutely right, JT. But you know that the system is designed to make money off of these legalized marriages because everyone knows this on the panel that when you get married, you got to get a marriage certificate.
Yeah.
When you get a marriage certificate and you put your name and sign your name on a dotted line, you have just contracted with the state that you live in. You basically told them, I give you permission to interfere in my marriage.
Yep.
So, and the same thing goes for the child support shit, because once you sign the paperwork as a man that you're going to pay this money, the state says, wonderful. Now give us that. We're going to take that $200 off the top. And then you know what happens, JT? And then the woman that you're giving the child support to, when she only gets $300 of the $500, she gonna take your ass to court and say, I need more. And you're like, well, I already was giving her $500. No. It's the administrative fees, sir, just like you said, JT. So now she gonna take you back to court to get some more money.
Yeah.
And then the state gonna take some more money and some more and some more. See,
he got a second job.
It's a racket.
Yeah, he has Social Security now.
So then
he got all
so
that
then
shit.
think about it. When younger men, because this is where they get this shit from. When younger men listen to older men like us talk about these sort of things, then we wonder why they don't want to get married. Because they listening to our horror stories. And they saying, oh no, I don't want no part of that. Hell no.
Yes. Oh, but listen, to add to Black Man.
Make sure you cut that one, BMU. Cut that. Short video short that one.
So one of those cases, Black BMU, that you guys were talking about with my man, the one that was with oh boy. So one of those cases was in Michigan, mind you. One of those cases, I think both of them on the first video was both in Michigan. And
Michigan on some other shit.
I knew that they had a well, they got rid of it now, but they used to have a common law marriage thing here, just like they had what they call it, where people squat.
Yeah,
they was moving into people's homes.
Are you talking about common law? Common law marriage?
Yeah.
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
So it was crazy because they had put these amenities for the week. It was literally for the week. It was child support, squatters, that squatter shit, lemon law. That shit was crazy as hell too. It's a lot of things that they're starting to change that stuff, and especially child support. Child support 2001, they did a sting. This was when they started having child support as a felony.
The Browns
non-payment child support. So you signed that contract that Information Man was just saying that you signed. That contract you were signing, if you got arrested, you were signing it under duress. This is what the loophole was. They made the arrearage that you owed, they made that the bond, the bail. And if you couldn't pay the bail, which a lot of people couldn't pay the bail, you had to sign a contract with a promise to pay. And if you didn't sign it, if you go like a certain amount of time or a certain amount of money behind, I think it was either 4 or 6 years that you had to spend in prison. If you refuse to sign it, that's an automatic 6 months in jail. And then if you go to jail, then they will put you out, like if you had a job. They would give you a program that you can go to your job, but you have to come back to the jail. That was $1,700 in order for you to even be in that program. They also had a tether, $1,700 for you to be in that program. Guess where that money go to? Not to the children. You had dudes, hundreds of dudes walking around Detroit with a tether on their damn leg for child support. House arrest for child support. And they had to pay for house arrest. And they had to pay for the tether. And the money, none of that money went to the child. Then you got the estoppel. This is the craziest thing. So yes, this is what we're talking about when it comes down to fear. This is what we were saying. These young dudes are not even trying. We talking about Z's. We're talking about Generation Z. They ain't even trying to be in relationships with these girls. They renaming them. In a minute, there's going to be no children. We already talked about this 2 years ago. When I first came on Black Man Unfiltered, we were talking about this shit. And I predicted. They're going to start having commercials, bro, for people to start having sex and getting married. Trust me when I tell you, this is how bad it is. Our pain, you are on the right track. That's why I was telling you that night. You was just hot because it's near and dear to you. It's kind of like that with me too. But we have to understand that there's a problem that we have right now. That's what we have to have. So that's why when I say, well, how does that look for us to change the narrative? I'm not trying to be facetious. I really want to know. I have young adult girls, women, right? And by the grace of God, they both do want to get married. That's the craziest part. They both want to have families. They both want to do. My youngest getting ready to graduate college, man. By the grace of God, she get out here and she's trying to be on the same on the right path. My oldest, she on the right path. The only thing is that marriage shit, man, this shit is a deficit right now.
But JT, can I say this real quick based on what you said? And Information Man said it as well. See, this can't be just one path to glory, right? We got to change the narrative, but also there's got to be men. And this is where we have to team up with other men outside of our race to change the laws. So that these both things have to happen so the narrative can make sense, right? We know that the laws need to change so men can be at ease, right? A little bit more at ease. And then we need the narrative to change, not necessarily for men, because I tell you, the reason why men don't want to marry women is because they're afraid of what the law is going to do with them, not because they don't want to be married.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Women don't want to be married to men because the women are telling them to fuck everybody until they're so psychotic, they ain't no good to nobody no more. You know, so we need to change the narrative on both ends. We need to change the laws, and we need to tell women. That's why no woman comes up here. I challenge them. Come up here and tell us why it's better for a woman to fuck all the way through her 20s and 30s before she gets married.
Mm-hmm.
Why would that be a good thing to tell them? And don't tell me, well, they need to live their best life. That's a euphemism for them fucking around.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, man. I'm done.
No, I want to ask you this directly though, because I want to say, you know, I play devil's advocate for a second. If you and I, along with You Ain't Ready and Trey, Mr. Bennett, Information Man, Dr. Steele, Black David, so on and so forth, JT, Grooming Reviews, we go and we say we're going to change the laws. Say, for instance, we're here in my state, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. And we go to the Texas lawmakers and we say, we want to change these child support laws. We want to change the laws to help men. And we have 500 men, 1,000 men that's following us and signed a petition. We're going to get more. We want these laws changed. Tell me what motivation that those lawmakers would have to help us change the law when those laws that are in place benefit them financially while they're working and will benefit them financially when they retire. Why would they want to change a law that's going to pay them their salaries for the rest of their life when they retire?
Brother Bennett,
who are you asking? Go ahead.
Do you think in regards to that say we all are here and we all come to a collective to file the
petition?
I guess not just the petition, but the court order together with 5,000 signatures, possibly. Could we all be one pool and say we come to the courts to charge the courts for this offense? And if possible, be willing to take it to the most highest court in the land, because we see that it's basically illegal, but they find loopholes because in Texas, like you said, if you owe child support, despite when the child is old, they put it on your credit report. It'll stay on your credit report until you pay it off or make a deal with the mother.
Trey, it's even worse than that, though, Trey Ferg. It's to the point where right now, my youngest son is 11. If my wife decided she wanted to pack her shit and leave me today, he would go to child support and say, I'm putting him on child support. And Texas says, oh, really? Well, we're so glad you are. Matter of fact, we're going to get you 11 years worth. And they retro back to the day he was born. And I'm in the arrears 11 years. Go look it up. I'm in the arrears for every year he's been on Earth.
Yeah, I think you got to look that one up, man.
Look it up. Look it up right now.
Let's stick on the topic though for what you said. You're talking about Texas. Go ahead, Trey Ferg. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
But this is where, like I said, every state is not the same. I'm sure you look at your state laws, but in cases that I've seen where women were getting government assistance per se, and they were having children, the biggest catch that a lot of women were getting caught up in, where guys were getting smart, A lot of them on Section 8. They living in Section 8 apartments, and the man can't be there. So if you're a man, you get some mail there, and then start trying to make a deal to the best of your ability. Where if y'all do split for any reason, then at least y'all can work it out between the two of y'all. Because like you said, once you go into court, and even if you've been living there, taking care of the child and all that, you ain't got no evidence, then they're going to backdate it pretty much from whenever. And they're going to charge you with the birth of the child too. So that's why a lot of times you go into court, it's $6,000, $7,000. You're like, damn, I just broke up 2 weeks ago. But they putting all that on your tab. So just be mindful and be careful. I've seen it.
Can I just say something? You said something, Miss BMU. Listen, we could go horror stories all day. Every law that's on the books benefits some people over others.
Mm-hmm.
And we change laws all the time. And what I'm saying is it always starts with the one politician you put in office that's willing to stand on the podium and say, listen, we got to change this. It doesn't, but until people start saying stuff,
mm-hmm.
it will never happen, because we could scare each other to death with these horror stories, but we know the laws have to change. And I don't know, we know that we need to bring back no fault divorce. We know that. We need to do a lot of stuff, but we need coalitions to do it. And I think this is where, and I said it once before, I'm going to say it again, we have allies across the diaspora, across the racial lines and ethnic lines, because every man in America is going through it, not just black men, right? So that's a coalition right there. And all you need is a politician to stand up. And I hate to say this, but we got to stop voting liberal women into office.
She ain't gonna stop.
No. But see, you just said it again. I didn't say was gonna stop, but we got to stop doing it as a man with black men are behind our own demise.
Right.
By putting people with black skin in office who are liberals. They go for every fucking thing in the world, man. LBGYN, all kinds of shit that's not good for the community. And I mean, how much evidence do we need to have?
So Arpain, you talked about horror stories. I'm telling you for a fact, I did a show on it. I had the video. I had all the necessary things here. This is not horror. This is reality.
Okay.
In the state of Texas, all state officials who work for Texas, when they retire, their retirement comes out of the child support fund.
I hear you, BMU.
So 98% of those people who are going to get that retirement, those are the people you're sitting down with trying to negotiate to change that law.
No. See, you're missing my point, because I understand what you're saying. Well, I'm not saying negotiate with the guys who are benefited. All you need is a politician in there that stands on the podium and runs against people and gets enough votes to come in and start changing from the inside of the legislature. And it's only Texas that might be as draconian, and maybe some other states. But you got to start somewhere. I mean, if we're saying because Texas is the way it is, we can't do anything, then why are we talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't think the solution is political.
Go ahead, Mr.
I don't think it's as political as you're making out our opinion, because again, you have in the South, especially, you have all these super majority conservative states with these guys on the books, like Texas, like Tennessee, South Carolina, you name it. It's across the board.
There you go.
And none of these guys are doing anything that's facilitating families or marriage or trying to take the burden off of men's backs. You're not hearing that anywhere. So you change the party. At the end of the day, from what Black Man is saying, it's about the money.
But that's not entirely true, is it? That's not entirely true, is it? When they took away alimony in Florida, so that's not entirely true. It starts with small little things, man.
But so they took away alimony, but they about to replace it with the other child support.
Let me ask this question real quick. Arpain, in America, in these yet to be United States of America, right? What is the most important thing in America?
I mean, this is a loaded question. What are you asking?
The bottom line. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Today I was off today, enjoyed my day off today, and I say I got on Hulu today. and I saw they released Freaknik today.
Freaknik. Yep, I watched it.
I heard. Yeah,
So
I heard it
Am I
was
gonna
sweet.
find any of you guys on there?
Yeah. Oh no. I watched.
Arpane's on there. I saw him on there.
I watched the Freaknik
Nah.
documentary, and
Black Man Unfiltered wouldn't be on there.
no, I wouldn't be on
That's
too
like
young.
way before
Way
your
I was a
time.
kid,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, I mean, come on, let's
That's
keep it
anyway.
real.
That's
That's
why I said
definitely
Arpane's
me,
on there.
Information
I
Man,
remember
Mr.
Freaknik
Bennett,
shit.
I was 13
Arpane,
years old in '96. Come on now. So listen, let me say,
and Trey. That's it. It's just us.
Arpane
All the
was
rest
there.
of y'all.
Trey and all
I think
pain.
JP's on there
y'all
too.
let
I think I
PMU
saw you
finish.
too. You're a shiny
Y'all
little head
let
over there.
PMU finish. I want to hear this. Go ahead, man. What
So I
you
watched
see?
the documentary. Atlanta, Georgia was a mecca, right?
Yeah.
They was making 20. I watched the documentary. They said they was making $20 million every year off Freaknik.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Guess what happened? Ladies and gentlemen, we want to congratulate Atlanta for getting the Olympics.
Yeah.
When the Olympics came to Atlanta, it killed Freaknik. You want to know why? Because the white folks came to the mayor and told him, we don't give a goddamn about you making $20 million a year. When we come in here, we're going to make you $1 billion in 4 years. What are you going to do?
And he said, we're going to arrest any of you niggas trying to picnic.
The next day he was on the news. We will no longer be having Freaknik. The people said, we're going to do it anyway. Guess what he did? He got the National Guard come in. They shut off all the highways, shut off the exits. When the people came for Freaknik, they boxed them up in one little corner in Atlanta and left from there.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a terrible thing. What was that, 99?
Yeah,
98, 99?
And so what happened is the bottom line was we was making 20 million. They was bringing $20 million worth of revenue in there, but somebody else came with a higher number. And I think that's what we did in America. It's all about the bottom line. Like Mr. Bennett just said, it's about that bottom line. You come in my office and I'm a senator and you come in and fucking with my retirement money. I'm gonna shake my head and be like, yeah, Arpane, you're right.
This is
I believe in you.
Yeah,
But,
Now, you guys, again, so you're saying there's no solution. Okay.
No,
there is a solution.
No, you ain't giving me none. You're just telling me what we can't do.
I'm going to give you a
Nobody's
solution.
telling me what we can do.
I've already talked about the solution on this platform many of times.
Yeah, come on, information, man.
You know what I'm about to say. I've said this
Okay,
before.
Unite.
Men have to unite across the board. You have to study what women do. Women get what they get because they know how to lobby and they know how to be persistent with the politicians.
Fact.
Now, remember that all government is local first. So you have to start at the local level and bring it to the national level. Now, I understand what you're saying, Black Man, about the fact that their bottom line is economics and money. However, politicians work for us. We do not work for them. What they do recognize and what they are scared of is not being in office. And if you got thousands and millions of men across the land who said, we're tired of being tied and we're not going to take it anymore, and we're going to hurt you guys in the pocket. We're going to boycott you. We're not going to put money into your campaigns. We're not going to vote for you. That's the one thing that politicians are scared of, not being in office and you replacing them with someone else that will do your bidding.
Yeah.
I think someone made a key point up here. Find people that have your interests, right? Find politicians that have your interests. Women got what they got because they were riding these politicians, riding them hard. And the politicians looked at their numbers and said, damn, that's a hell of a lot of women. And that's a hell of a lot of votes. And that's a hell of a lot of campaign contributions. That's a hell of a lot of back pocket money. Think about how unions work. I'm in a union myself. And how does the unions work in California like it works in government across the country? When we get raises, when I get a raise, when I get more money in my pocket, it's because my union has to do what? Collect money from us that they use to bribe the politicians in the state at the state house or at the federal government to do what? It's lobbying to do our bidding. Let's just call it what it is. You're bribing them. You're saying, we're going to give you something in the back to sweeten the pot. That's what politics has always been about anyway. So if men did this in droves, like women have done, it's going to be slow and you build up. It's going to take time. But if we make up noise, I mean, I'll give you an example. Their time was short, but remember the Tea Party? How they took over in government? Now their reign was very short, right? but they all had a ideology, and they got people in office, even though most of them eventually got put out, right? But it shows you that if you develop a, what do you call it, a base, a political base around the issue, you can make some changes if you stay to the strategy. From local to federal, we can. Another thing I wanted to bring up to Black Men Unfiltered. I think you're in Texas. I was hearing some rumors that they are considering, I believe in Texas and maybe some other states, of bringing back the no-fault divorce policy, where a woman can't just say, wake up in the morning and just say, I don't want to be in this. It has to be real legitimate reasons why you're divorcing.
Michigan is like
they're
that.
even talking about if you're married and the woman is withholding sex from you, that you as a man could actually divorce her based on that and say
sue her.
You can sue her and say she's withholding. These are things that are being talked about in the back room. You know why? Because there's a small number of men out there being BMU. There's a small number of men out there that are making a little bit of noise. So you got a small number of politicians that are kind of like pondering over it. It is so there's some rumbling in the background, but we need more men to make this background become a big ass horn. I'll rest there.
Right. And you know, I'll say this before they took abortion out of Texas, because Greg Abbott, listen to me. I don't like some of the stuff he say.
He's something else.
But Greg Abbott in that wheelchair, listen to me. He told him, you can go and get an abortion and come back to this state all you want to. He said, but if you do, I got something for you. You will not be treated here because none of our hospitals will be held responsible for something we told you not to do. He said, so don't think you're going to go and get an abortion in the state next door and come back over here and think we're going to treat you. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. The second thing is what you were talking about, because before the abortion, they made the women look at the babies on the ultrasound before they decided to do the abortion. Now in marriage, like you said, information man, now if a woman get up in the morning, my wife get up in the morning and say, I want a divorce, I'm out. The state says, no, you guys have to be separated for 6 months before we even entertain it.
Yeah, that's Michigan.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
at the end of the day,
before we even
they're going to
entertain
still, at the end of the day, even if, check this out, this is what I want to tell
up to 6 years to
everybody,
get a divorce for
so
some
that we're
people
not,
if they get contested.
so that we're not unmotivated about this. Even if they changed the laws and made it where a woman or a man has to prove a good reason why they went out of the marriage, right? Even if they decide to say, okay, we'll give you men what you want. We'll change the laws to make it a little bit more balanced, right? Even if they did that, check this out, brother. They gonna still make money because they're still going. Divorce ain't gonna stop. People still gonna get divorced. They still gonna make money. They're gonna make money on the front end and the back end when you get the marriage license. So even if they say, okay, we're gonna loosen it up on you men, so it's unfair, so it's fair. You know how it's gonna work, brother? Now you'll be able to make the woman pay some money.
Yep.
And the politicians still gonna get paid. Because we both suckers on a lollipop.
But look, and the thing is also what you guys were just saying. For instance, what our parent was saying. Damn it, it's gonna get worse before it get better, fellas. That's what we gotta say. But this is the thing. Imagine if men did band together, just like what we were saying. What would be the first thing we get? You have to get someone that's gonna be someone that to be the head, right? Someone that's gonna make the things move. Who would that normally be? It's gonna be lawyers. And it's going to be people that are politicians, right?
They know the law. Yeah.
Right. So then when we're talking about something like that, you definitely would have to have, because we could do it. The reason why a lot of men, especially if you have the neighborhoods that's the hood, a lot of men don't go to court because they may have warrants or they may have, like tickets and shit like that. Some old punk ass shit. They don't even be real shit. But that's why a lot of men didn't go to court and stuff like that also, right? But when you got men that's sitting back and saying, nah, man, we tired of this shit. Yeah. And we start fighting for our rights. Guess who's going to be right there behind us also fighting for the rights? The women.
Right.
They're going to go, when they start seeing the wind blowing strong on their side, what do? Anywhere the wind blows stronger, that's where women is going to go, and they're going to start backing it.
Right.
That's just what it is.
Check out this metaphor I'm gonna lay on you guys. I'm sure folks on here are sports fans, right? Football, for example, right?
Yeah.
We know that the majority, even though there are women that like football, we know that the majority of the people that fill up those football stadiums every Sunday in college are men for the most part, and other people, but men. So think about it. Every year when you have an NFL season, you've got men filling up stadiums across this country in the thousands and millions.
Yeah.
Imagine if all those men in all those stadiums of football would all come together and say the way if we can go to a football game in unity around a fucking team that we rooting for and sitting on some plastic ass, hard ass chairs, then there's no reason why we couldn't rally together the same way to fight for men's rights, the way we fill up these damn stadiums in the millions every Sunday.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what it tells me is that men, we're capable of coming together when it's something that we like and that we want, like football. There's things that we rally around. Well, it's hard for us to want to rally around things that have to do with political stuff, right? Because it's not fun, it's not sexy. But we should be rallying around those things just the way we do football games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's crazy information, man? Yeah, it's crazy that you said that because they used that one time. I don't know if y'all remember the Cleveland Brown Roundup. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I heard of that.
They got on the radio and said, "We have a list of names that we pulled, and we have people with their kids season tickets for the Cleveland Browns."
Yep.
Man, those fucking men were lined up for a mile. And they get them in. They said, "We got your tickets." They came in. The lady said, "We need to verify your name." "My name is Benjamin Johnson. Are you sure? John? Yes, that is correct.
Last four of your socials.
This is your address. This is your address. They tell them, "Go over there," and they got your tickets. They had the cheerleaders and everything. Woo!
Yeah.
The motherfuckers walked over to that damn thing and they put them right in the paddy wagon for child support.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they had that's what I was saying. They had their children with them too.
God.
A lot of men had their children.
You got the video for that?
That shit does. That did happen.
You can pull it up.
They even had a courtroom in the Philadelphia Stadium, the old Philadelphia Stadium.
Yeah.
They used to have a courtroom where they would arrest guys and get them for the child support while they was coming in to watch the football game.
Yeah.
Be like, we got you, sucker.
What?
Yeah, but this is the thing.
Yeah.
That actually, if we would have known the laws, we could have sued them.
Yeah, that's illegal.
We do no shit like that. That's entrapment.
Oh yeah.
You could have. But men was not. Like I said, we do a lot of things out of fear, right? Mm-hmm. And out of ignorance. Ignorance and fear is one of the biggest things. So just to bring it full circle to what Arpain was talking about with the title that we're talking about. Older men dating younger women is not going to be conducive right now because of the quality of younger women we have for the majority of people. Now, what I do understand, though, Arpain, is that the ones that will be involved in that would be what we would consider to be the elite. Now, what I see is that it has to be a message where it's like marriage ain't for everybody. It's only for the elite. You know what I'm saying? When you tell people they can't do shit, what they gonna do? They're gonna try to do shit. It was the same thing on how they did college. Only the elite was for college. It was exclusive. And people like to be exclusive. But when you're talking about something like the union of marriage, that's something that we may have to flip the script on them for. It ain't for y'all. It ain't for the peasants. This is for the elite. These are for the people that are capable of doing these things, having these principles. That's maybe what we have to do, because right now, everything, you can look at a damn flower, and now a flower can be called a nickel. And people be like, yep, as long as you got 100+ people that agree that flower is a nickel, that's what the narrative is. Mm-hmm. When they talk about marriage, look at what happened with, and this was in my generation, the X and the boomers, that common law shit. Motherfuckers ain't even did shit when it came down to get married. They date somebody, and what did they say? My wife. And then you find out they ain't even married. What are they doing now? Look at what the younger generation is calling their girlfriends. Wifey.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't went there. They didn't do what people that get married to do because there's no purpose. Not in their mind. We know that there's purpose, but they don't see the purpose in it. So now we have to bring purpose back to it. But the only way we can do it is exactly what you was talking about earlier, Arpain, through our own kids, through our own nephews and nieces.
So here's
It's a little more difficult with them. However, with the nieces and stuff. However, with our own kids, it ain't as difficult as it is to be out there with some damn strangers. And then we move in, and then we can do it in the community. It'll never go back the way it used to. So we have to use our imagination. So I definitely agree with you on that part right there. Just on the concept of marriage, period. The concept of marriage. That's what we have to instill. They don't know anything about the purpose and the concept of marriage and all this. When you hear people talking now, man, even people my age, sometimes I just want to bite their fucking nose off.
JT, let me ask you a question though. Okay, let's just not use, if we didn't use the term marriage, what would keep people together if they were just hanging out together, even if they were committed to each other? But in terms of, I want to live with this person, we're going to have kids.
Marriage.
What's the glue? I mean, if the glue is some kind of,
it's the purpose
commitment,
and concept. Right? It's the same thing that keep you and your wife together. It's
yeah, but what I'm
that you
saying
guys
is,
have.
So it is marriage then, right? And it's
yes,
no
it's marriage. You can't use another word. Just like somebody tried to say, my wife is my partner. No, my wife is my wife.
Yeah. Right. All right. I just want to know we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So I had a couple.
I'm CEO and you president. No, I'm husband and your wife. We're not about to use all these stupid ass analogies because it's that important for us to understand that we've lost purpose in what marriage is. There's no concepts. There's no basis. There's nothing. All people know, and what women will get married with you on is what? The ceremony. She ain't even thinking about the marriage. She thinking about the ceremony. Let me see what type of dress I'm gonna get. Let me see who I'm gonna invite. Let me see what kind of cake, how many tiers, what kind of champagne we gonna have.
Right. Because you know that the marriage is not really for you, it's really for her.
Yes.
Exactly. It's really the marriage is just really wrapped around the woman. The men, we're just utility. We're just, No, I'm really serious about that.
Right.
Really. We just become
I thought you
like
mean
a little
men are
symbolism.
ATM machine, not utilities.
That's what somebody was saying. You don't say run a ride.
I use that term because we're being used.
Yeah.
What do you do with utilities? You use them.
Yes. And then they teach their children to use you.
More ATM instead. You just bend over to just swipe that.
Mr. Bennett said he had a question for you guys.
Well, yeah, a couple things. So, information, man, based on what you just said and what you also said earlier in the show about what marriage is, especially when you go for that certificate, then are you an advocate then for black people to get married en masse, given the situation that we're in? I mean, just based on what I'm hearing, I'm just curious about that. Are you in favor, given the current laws, for black people to get married? And if not, then what would you recommend for us? Sir, I don't know if you're muted or not. Is he on still?
No. I don't think he's muted. I think he's typed.
Yeah, information man, he got a question for you. I don't know if he
can't hear you.
I don't know.
I just have a question.
I'll circle back. But JT, I want to move to you. So you had said that maybe marriage should be the place of the elites.
Well, it should be, yeah.
Okay, because I've heard that narrative also. In fact, you used to have Anton used to say, if a man's not making $100,000 a year, he shouldn't be getting married.
That ain't what I'm talking about.
Okay, so can you just flesh that out a little bit? And how, if the elites do it, are you saying for the elites to create a model that those who are not elite would then follow? Or
yes.
What is, okay.
Absolutely. So it would be based off of principles. It'll be based off of the man actually leading, the woman actually being the helpmeet, the ones they actually are, it's kind of like a constant study of what it is that we need to do. Reason being is because we understand that we are in turmoil when it comes down to community, right? So what I mean by elites is to bring back purpose, right? Because the purpose of marriage from the beginning of time still stands. It's just the way that we think now, the way that the world has changed. What I mean by that is this: you don't get married because it makes you feel good. You don't get married because it makes you happy. You get married because you're contributing. You are two contributors. And your first contribution should be children.
Okay, so maybe I'm struggling, I guess, with the term elite then, because usually when you say elites, you're talking bourgeois, you're talking, those elite classes. I don't think that's what you're talking about. But I certainly agree with you. I think, and even to R. Payne's earlier point, I think what we need is we need a test area, like anything, like say if you're in business, you got a product, you want to test it out in the market and see how that goes. And if it's successful in the market, then you bring it nationwide, so again, like McDonald's, they may test a burger or a new product in a market and see how it goes. And if people going crazy about it, so, okay, now we can launch it. So I think I can agree that we certainly need people to actually walk the walk.
Yes.
And then we need to get people who are actually living it to come into these spaces and to share their results, share share what they're doing. So maybe that's part of what's missing in this conversation.
Yes.
Now I think I think a lot of those people exist. I just don't think we see enough of them in these platforms talking about what works and what doesn't and how things have worked for them. I think we need to, maybe that's what needs to be uplifted, and we need to do. So maybe the issue is about, not even trying to create a new test area, but just better recruiting.
Yes.
Better, finding and networking with people and bringing a collective of people together who are saying, this is how we did it. This is the result. This is the outcome. And so people can have something to model after, because I think a lot of what we're talking about is conceptual. But I do think there are certainly enough successful marriages, even within our community. I think there's enough successful marriages to get people really talking about, talk about marriage in the positive that would make younger people desire it. Because I don't think it's about money. I mean, because again, the upper elite classes now, I don't think their kids are getting married any mass. They're not showing us anything. No matter how much money you have, they're not emulating. Look at the Kardashians. I mean, that's a train wreck.
That's why I don't look at that as.
So
I never looked at.
I get you. Now, just when you said elite, that kind of threw me off a little bit, because I was thinking more class, more so than people who are actually living the principles.
Yeah,
I think there are enough people out there, but we just need to highlight them more.
Somebody asked me a question on one panel. I think it was on this panel, and I told you, I think it was you, Black Man. You asked me a question. You said, "What's the first word that come to your mind?" And you said a word, and I said, "Granddad, grandfather." Right? What I look at elite is people that was not scared to figure it out together, and then they grow old, and then they end up seeing the real currency, right? They got a son, they got a big family, they got a daughter that got a family, they got a young son that went to college and he did something. They got kids, he got a grandchild that was whatever they were doing. They had people that was actually doing things, and they were surrounding the two that actually was on the apex of the family. That's an elite person to me. That's what I see. So in order for that to happen, we have to have people to be more intentional. We understand, like, times have changed, right? So they know that times have changed. So they say, okay, now we got to go back and we got to start back building purpose. And to your point, Mr. Bennett, we have to show and prove. We have to put this on the forefront and let people see the end results to it. Absolutely. So that's where I was at with it. Yes. You back there, Information Man? You back?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay.
Hey, Information Man. I just had a follow-up question for you, just based on some things you said earlier. So are you a proponent of marriage, given the laws that you're talking about, the laws that are currently in place that are unfair to men generally? And when you talked about marriage, when you get that marriage certificate, what ultimately you're signing up for, are you for marriage, at least in the general sense, or are you more so for people partnering without the state involved, and call it maybe something else so that you keep the state out of your business. I just wasn't.
I'm open to both solutions.
Okay.
But I am for marriage. I just don't like the red tape of marriage in terms of what the state, how they get involved in our business, right? But I still believe in the institution of marriage between man and woman, and building that upon creating a family with children and the whole 9 yards. I just think if we can get the technical stuff out of it, and we can just get back to what marriage is really supposed to be about, marriage would be would be better if all the technical stuff wasn't attached to it. Gotcha. But maybe I'm just talking pipe dream here, you know.
Right. But you still think that it's the reward is worth the risk as a collective.
Well, yeah, because there are certain benefits that you do get being
right.
I was married before, so there are certain benefits to being married that you don't get if you're just shacking up with somebody.
Yeah. Right.
So there are some benefits to that for you, and I think if you are blessed to have the right woman in your life who understands the objectives and goals of what you both are building, and she's on that same page too, then it can be a beautiful thing. You know.
Can I just add one thing too? If you guys are familiar with taproots, you know, like every tree has that one taproot that anchors it.
Yeah.
The more marriages you have in your family, you know, vertically into your family, the stronger your family is because of that taproot that you build. The infrastructure of the family collective is stronger if it's based on marriages from generation to generation. I mean, that's I've seen it. I've seen that work, and I've seen it start to deteriorate because of just because I can look at my own family and have an anecdotal kind of look-see into what the future looks like from the almost 90% of marriages in a baby boomer generation to the 75% in the X, and to, shit, man, just 1 or 2 in the millennials. Until right now, we don't even have any Z's married, but they're young.
Right. I want to ask you a question, Arpain, because this goes to the historical history of Black people in this country. Well, when Black people came out of shackled slavery, and you had what we call the Reconstruction era, what was one of the first things that Black people did when they came out of slavery into Reconstruction?
I think a lot of them ran for office, I think. There was
but the first thing that they did
look for land or go. Married. Yeah.
This goes to what we're talking about tonight. So the first thing that Black people did, because remember, it was illegal for Black people to get married, which is the reason why we had this symbolism of jumping the broom, right? Yeah. It was an unsanctioned marriage, right? Once Black people got certain types of freedoms coming in during the Reconstruction period, the first thing that they did is they said, let's get legally married. So the men start marrying women. And then they did exactly what you said earlier. They started getting into politics and what have you during that short period of time. So what I'm saying that to say, the valuing marriage has always been a big part of our culture.
True.
Going all the way back to when people had nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me add this though, information, man. And this is a narrative that's in these YouTube streets that I have to say. When I hear the young women today saying the only reason why women married Black men back in the 60s and 70s because they couldn't do anything else. That's one of the most insidious pieces of bullshit ever.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And it needs to be refuted every time one of those ladies say that shit. By everybody.
It's been said in the chat tonight. It's been said in the chat tonight for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just absolute bullshit, man. Or they couldn't go anywhere else. Like every one of my aunts worked until they retired and had a pension. They didn't have to stay with the men. They stayed, and they were crying at the funerals, and they were married till death did they part. You know what I'm saying? So
and this shift, fellas, you go back to before 2006. The numbers would have stated different as far as our percentage of being married. I'll take the 50% back if we can get the 50% back. I'll take it back. Whoa. I mean, we still thriving and we still building together And as it relates back to the subject, in a sense, you know, a man marrying somebody a little more than 10, 15, 20 years younger, you know, if they want to have children, I don't see any of y'all being 75 trying to be a father. I don't see y'all doing it. I don't see y'all, you know, as you get older as a man and you work hard and you start looking to want to put some retirement days in your schedule and have a little more relaxing. Now, it's cool with the grandkids. Bring your grandkids over on Saturday. I'm going to send them back Sunday full of sugar, ready to get hyper when they get back and see you. But as far as that, you know, I don't know, man. I think if you get married, yes, but what if she wants to have children? And then you starting all over, man, at 55, 60 years old. That shit rough as hell. You got bad knees, your blood pressure up, can't see without your glasses and shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't take it to the point no more, you know. So I think it's always better to be younger, man. I mean, for the young guys, man, don't spend the next 20 years of your life just like the women. You age out too, just thinking, I'm going to turn back. Yeah, you might be able to turn back, but it's going to be a little different. So start thinking about those things now, man, so you won't be in this situation. It's rough out here.
What you got going on here?
Now, I wanted to say something to Art Payne real quick before you play that. What I noticed about some of the women on the YouTube streets that say these things, one of the most obvious things is that a lot of people who say these things, they weren't alive then. They weren't even fucking born.
That's right.
So they get all this stuff from hearsay. But a lot of folks, if you weren't living then to see what was really going on and what the circumstances are, then you don't really know what you're talking about.
Right.
Talk to people who lived then that can give you a real perspective.
You know, somebody put up an abuse post. You know, I mean, nobody said there weren't any abuses.
Of course, there was abuse.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but
see, this is the
was
thing.
You saying that as a badge of honor? I mean, I didn't get that.
When they do this, it's trying to make an indictment against black men in particular. When we know damn well there were men across the board, no matter what their race were, that were also abusive to their women, just like there were men that weren't abusive.
Right.
So let's
White
stop
men
the
don't
games.
let their women talk about it. White men do not let their women talk about it.
But why do we go to that narrative? All right, because let me tell you something. I heard an old lady say this, and I know this wasn't a badge of honor, and I know this not going to be sexy either. But you hear old people talking, and I remember she wasn't getting abused or anything, but she said, I knew some women who were very mouthy. A lot of women who back in the day who played victim, but they were very mouthy. They would throw things at their husbands. They would be very, very mouthy. And she said sometimes it ended that way. And sometimes, you know, the husband would be, and she said, listen, guys, if she broke it down like this, I'm going to let it go. She said, when I walked down the aisle, my father gave the responsibility to my husband to become the authority over my life like my father. She said some of those women back in the day were very mouthy because they were just aggressive. They were just he-men, basically. And some of those men had to pop them in their fucking mouth. Now, I ain't saying I agree or not. I ain't saying I agree with it.
Yeah, that's Harris out our leash, man.
Right. Even to this day, though, there's something called, I know information, man, I know you know it. It's called domestic discipline with your spouse. There's a law that permits a man to physically discipline his wife if it's agreed upon with his wife. There are women out there that say, if I get out of line, you whoop my behind.
Jeez.
But also, this is the thing also. If a woman don't love and respect her man, she really don't love her kids that way either. What I mean by that is this. Have you ever heard a woman say lovely to her kids? You act just like your dad. Oh my God, you act just like your dad.
Yep.
And lovingly, right? Because that shows a respect that she has for that man. On the flip side, you heard a woman say, your funky ass acts just like your ain't shit daddy. They don't respect the man. And they made a replica of him that she don't like. It's a side of him that she don't like. And you will see women telling a kid that that's the side of you that I don't like. That makes a kid feel like shit.
Mhm.
But it also, let's go back to the other flip side. When you tell a kid that respects their father and love their father, and when somebody say, you look just like your daddy, you act, he say the same thing you say, and you catch somebody looking at you, and they're like looking at your mannerisms. Oh my God, you act just like your daddy, but they saying it lovely. That's respect that they have. So when we talking about we're talking about our pain, how we get this marriage thing back together, first people got to start back respecting each other. First, men got to also understand that that's pride. When you have a woman that can give you and multiply who you are, and the same thing for her, and you guys respect and love each other, it comes out of your children.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to see. That's what I mean by the elite, the ones that are intentional about it, especially when they know what this world is right now as we stand. Now, what happened is you act like your funky ass daddy. This video I'm about to show you is a young man, and you can hear how the disappointment in him and women are.
Yeah.
And how he's going to express how he's going to live, go through life when it comes down to dealing with a woman and marriage and all this shit. Black man, you want me to go ahead and play it right now?
You ain't ready. Are you married?
I was about to ask him.
No, I'm not.
I know he's not, but I had a question for you, brother.
He's not
First of all,
married. He's
it's very
looking for a
nice to meet you.
I'm not married. No, I'm not.
Okay.
Very nice to meet you. But so again, I know you said you didn't specify what country or tribe or ethnicity you are, but in your community, you said you're having trouble. You're 34. So is the issue as much with your community to find a good woman as much as it is for Americans? So it's not just an American problem, I guess the problem, or is it? Do you think America has influenced your women to such a degree where CBN, I'm asking him.
Yeah, so
can I ask him, please?
Sorry.
Taking that big ass head of yours.
Unless you guys from the same tribe, I don't know. I say I don't want to pry in, but you're saying so the problem is just as egregious with the women in your. It's just as egregious in the women in your culture than American women. So for passport bros, they're going to your country, they're gonna run into the same issue pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you think that's American influence? What do you think? Where do you think that's coming from? Where is that?
Yeah, it's the Western world because internet, right? People watch a lot of things on the internet,
right?
And then they try to leave their life accordingly. So it's the Western world, the Western influence. Yeah, definitely.
And so people in your culture, so they're not getting married, not having children, or is there more? I mean, it's so you guys are seeing that the plummet in, I guess, your culture as well, as far as marriages and the families and the breakups and everything.
Yes, we are.
Wow.
Because right now people really don't understand the concept of marriage. Based on what they see online. You come online, you see a lady tells you, "Oh, I don't need a man in my life. I'm self-sufficient."
Right.
All I need to do is work hard, get to the apex of my career, make money.
Right.
So now money and getting to the apex of their career becomes their focus. And those ladies, they see it on the internet.
Right. But what about the parents? Because I think I think you introduced the narrative earlier that, again, we need to start, teaching our kids and prepping them for this. Is this certainly happening in your culture? I mean, marriage is still from the mothers and the fathers still preach, right? But I guess is the influence of the internet and Western culture and social media, is that a stronger influence over the women than, or are the parents telling their kids to wait for, don't get married right away? Because what Americans, as was said earlier, you have American, especially Gen X, I'm part of Gen X, where you have American women who are telling their American daughters, wait for marriage, don't get married too early, or work on your career. Like, they're telling them. I think there's a woman at my job, her daughter's getting married, her first daughter's getting married at 30. and she's basically telling her daughters, no, live your life and do all your stuff and get married like at the back end, more so in the front. So that's being told. Are women of that age in your culture telling their daughters that similar thing, to go and get your career and do your thing and then get married later? Or is it still the narrative, get married young and have families? And so what's coming out of the households compared to what we all know is coming from the internet and these other sources?
Yeah, so from the household perspective, they do encourage young ladies, at least when you're like 20, from 25, start looking to settle, 25, 26.
At 25 to start settling? Really?
Yeah, as a young lady, 25, 26, look for a man who is a potential suitor who is willing to get married. So that by the time you're 30, you're already married in a husband's house. Right.
That's a problem. I would think it would have been younger, but okay. That's
so because we encourage people to go to school, right? So these girls go to school after college at 25, they're already out of college, and after college they subsequently want to settle down. But now the problem is poverty, right? Poverty in the home can create some form of disrespect, right? Create some form of division. So when these girls are from poor homes where their father doesn't have the authority over them. So he can't even tell them what to do. They get influenced by the society. So it's a lot of factors that affect stuff.
Right. But 25, 26 is typically the age when to start, not in college. Find your guy when you're so you're 18.
So some people, if you have the opportunity to see someone in college, it's fine. But most times the family, like African family, we encourage our kids, go to school, and after your first degree, then get married.
Your first degree, damn.
Yeah. All right, Black David, seems like you've been champing at the bit here. So is that similar? Is for Nigerians or Igbos? I'm sorry, you're Yoruba. I'm sorry. I'm Yoruba. You're Yoruba. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Forgive me, sir. I called you an Igbo man. I know that's. I know I insulted you. Please forgive me for that.
Yoruba. No, I'm Igbo.
Oh, you Igbo?
But you're Nigerian the whole time. All right,
I'm Nigerian.
So drop this African stuff, man. You're Nigerian. You're Igbo. We're all fam here. You can be transparent with us. You don't have to go.
I'm Nigerian.
You don't have to go to continent. Because Africa's a big place and different values all over.
Some of us knew you were Nigerian.
Brother, I'm 26% Nigerian, and Black David and those guys confirmed that I'm of Igbo origin. So we're me and you, we like this. You ain't ready.
You ain't ready. Ask Mr. Bennett how come he couldn't tell you were Nigerian.
You ain't ready. It's always good to meet a Nigerian that's worth a damn. So I just want to do that.
Okay, so Black,
be careful.
So Black David, so is this a similar narrative then? Okay, so
no, among the Yoruba tribe, it's very, very similar because, like you said, the push for education is number one. Education is key. Once you get your first degree, if you're a female, they want you to get married because I hate to say it, it's kind of annoying when you have the mom or the aunt looking for the first grandkid. And they're antagonizing you almost every single year. It's annoying. Now, it works on the son side. If the son hit the 30 and not yet married, the mom will get on your nerves, or the auntie will get on your nerves. If you don't move, they'll go to your father to get on your nerves even more. They will bring the uncle to get on your nerves. They might even bring the elder to act maybe something's wrong with you to get on your nerves. You see, you ain't ready. He nodded his head because
my family had a meeting because of me.
He had it too
in December. December last
year. That is,
oh my God. It is.
Your hands out to America.
It is. My mom, and my aunt had a meeting with me, my brother, and my cousin, and they were interrogating us about when we're going to get married. When African men pull in meeting to be married, hope there's not more than one people in the meeting. If there's too many people in the meeting, you are doomed.
Hey, listen, my grandmother asked me, was I
the
gay?
points that have been made earlier tonight.
My grandmother asked me, was I gay? She looked at me and said, well, where's your girl at? You know, I said, she said, you ain't, and the way she said it, she said, well, you know, you ain't like, and she shook her head. I said, no, I said, man, I was like 20,
that's rough.
Maybe 23 at the time.
But to the point that the point of tonight's show, going back to our Payne's point, don't you think that thought process has hurt Nigerian culture to the extent that if you're encouraging girls to get married at 25, 26, rather than at say 22, 23, again, just getting out of school, then isn't that narrative then hurting your community, in that you're seeing that in addition to the women not getting, because the women aren't getting married or they're not worth marrying is the narrative that you're saying about Nigerian women now.
What he's saying is identical to my tribe, because some do find their husband in college and them trying to either get married before they graduate or while they're in college. But there is a dilemma in our country, Nigeria. He knows about it. There's a few prominent male celebrities. They created a organization who are pushing back against women who's asking for so much money before they get married. And it was a very, very big thing. It's comical about it, but it was a real deal because, like he said, they're copying the westernization mindset. It got to a point whereby they did a ranking. Nigerian women are the worst women to get married to, because if you don't have the money.
The worst?
Yeah. If you don't have the money,
one of the worst.
You're not going to marry. There was actually a song based on that. If you don't have them, if you want to make your wife happy, give her the money. If you don't have the money, borrow the money from somebody, give her the money.
It's a song.
It was. I thought it was a joke until it was a hit. It was a hit song in my country about making a woman happy.
We are doomed.
No romance.
I tell you, we are doomed.
American brothers, y'all going to come home.
We are doomed. We just
you go to the motherland and find a white man.
It's marriage.
Hold on. When I saw this, I thought it was craziness until I talked to all my African brothers, Nigerian brothers, and they tell me it's the same thing going on right now. They blame the westernization media for brainwashing our women to think similar to American women.
But it's not the women, though. The fact that you said
the younger generation are copying, not the older ones.
No, but you're saying that women are encouraged to start thinking about marriage at 25, 26.
Yes,
it's the first degree first.
Then it end up being all about money.
But stay on the 25 point though.
No,
I mean,
but
Mr. Bennett, that's still better than telling them the 30.
No, I agree with that. But your point, Arpane, was get married, find their man while they're in school. So you're saying get married younger.
No. If you see a man in school, it's encouraged. But your parents will support your marriage once you're done with your first degree.
First degree. That ain't. We ain't even talking.
Well, first degree is worst case. First degree is like 23, right?
What they're looking
so if you finish your
why
first
you waiting until 25?
If you go to an HBCU, shit, that's 6 years.
I'm just saying that's to me, that's pretty close to a modern mindset. That's not that much different than what an American mindset. You're only talking a couple years.
So
the average age here is 27, 28.
So this is how it's done. If for example you see a man right out of high school that is ready to sponsor your education, yes, then that is an exception. Then your parents can say, okay, go ahead, get married, and then you can go to school while you're married. So that is also an alternative. But a situation whereby they don't see a man who is eligible to get married to their daughter at that particular time, they try to build the daughter, give her the best foundation.
So she can take care of herself.
But why not, as Arpane suggested, like, let's say if you're a man, like your age, right? You're 34. All right. So you're still relatively young. Why not you marry someone of college age? Like 18 to 23. Like, why? Because that could work. Because then you're. I'm assuming you're old enough and responsible enough. You're handling your own affairs and whatnot, so you can take care of her and help her through school and whatnot. You can, so she can still get the degree and all that. But you could be the guy. So the point was, I thought Arpane was going was a 30-year-old guy, he needs to be looking for like an 18 to 23-year-old woman.
You keep saying 18. I'm looking for somebody who's already in college. They could be 20.
That's what I'm saying. Like that. So why don't you guys, you and CBN for that? Why aren't you guys modeling that, or why isn't that modeled in your culture then?
How would I put it? It was modeled like that in the early 70s and 80s, but during the 90s and the 2000s going upward.
Right. Let's not make 25. Let's not make 25 like some kind of pariah. That's still kind of young.
No, hold on.
25 is still pretty good.
If you're getting started at 25, then that means you're talking late 20s before you walk the aisle.
Hold on.
Not necessarily.
Talk about the environment in Nigeria during the 80s and 90s and the 30s. It wasn't that bad until like late 90s, 2000. Due to what he said is poverty. There is a poverty issue whereby our government are destroying our currency right now, which has made it real hard.
I understand the
permanent man to be.
There's some economic things going on.
This is why there's a thing before. I don't think people already noted about it. I think information noted before. They did call a visa lottery. A lot of people used to get the visa lottery during the 80s and 90s to come out here.
Yeah, I remember that.
They make a living for themselves, so there could be prominent people going back to marry women they want to marry. I believe they stopped that. But even though they stopped that issue, the Nigerian currency is being destroyed by the government to the point whereby it's almost about, if you don't have the money, you're not worth marrying unless you have a big acre land and you
didn't do this one already, Black Man, did you?
Let me. I got to get into this right
here,
now.
that's in Nigeria. What about here,
Black Man?
I just want to say this
It's
to the
happening
brothers.
here too.
Did you do this?
I wanted to ask this question of the brothers, particularly our African brothers on the panel. See, I understand exactly the dynamics of what you're talking about, because you said it yourself, brother, that some of the Nigerian women are becoming Western, or they are looking at Western society. And some of them, when they come over here and they integrate into our society, they begin to act like our women. They say Nigerian women are the most closest to American black women over here. No, gentlemen, I've been on panels with African brothers over at my man Uhuru's channel, and I've had these conversations. So I understand the dynamics. And then when you talk about the money aspect, you're absolutely right, because your currency is being destroyed by your people in your government. People are living in there's some poverty. Then of course the families are going to say to the daughter, get education, to the son as well, because there's some economic issues going on here. That's impacting this behavior. That's getting you away from your cultural, your norms. Am I right, or am I telling the truth? This is information, 100%. Man. God damn it.
100%.
Tell the truth.
Information is power.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to say, because I understand those dynamics.
Okay, fine, but that's Nigeria. Okay, you guys are here, first generation here. You don't have those issues. Most of you guys in a better economic situation, or the potential to be in a better economic situation, and I'm still hearing the same narrative.
Yeah.
Wait
over
until
here,
25, 26.
Same thing.
It's not about you guys are college. You guys are educated. CBN, you guys college educated. Y'all got all that stuff going on, and y'all still aren't getting married.
Yeah.
No,
So-
we want to get married.
I said you're not. I didn't say you didn't want to. I'm saying you're not. It's still.
You
It's
guys
still
are
a
morphing
problem
into Westerners.
within that.
Let me say it. I know I might get
Hold on, Black David. Let me get these super chats out the way. We got Scorched Earth with the $5 super chat that says, you can change the minds of the young ones when minds are gone by the women that raised them. As Gen Xers, hope is gone. Waste of time. All right, let's get to the next one. It's a minute crazy. All right, the next one. Let me see
that
what
was
I
all of
did.
them right there. I think we got the other ones. Bravado.
I don't think we got Big Ant.
Oh
did we?
no, Big Ant. I didn't see
Yeah,
that
Big
one.
Ant. Thank you, man, for being here tonight. Big Ant, $10 super chat says, peace to the panel. BMU, I understand age gap dating, but I just had a conversation with a 22-year-old female, and I now have a headache. All right. Scorched Earth says, people don't respect or honor the institution of marriage, but it's the one thing that has begun with an end with God. Question, do we believe God? Thank you guys for those super chats. You already know Bishop Goodjoint. Everybody get your comments ready. After Bishop Goodjoint, we'll be ready. Here we go.
Penny will be in church every Sunday if they be rocking like that, man. You can tell. He got the spirit in him.
But like I was saying earlier, let me explain this. Okay, play the video.
Okay, so this is my man Chi-Town. Shout out to my man DJ Hemp from the This Might Be Risky channel over there. My man is out cold. By the way, Black Man, me and Black Man on this Wednesday coming up, we will be on This Might Be Risky. So shout out to them, man. Most definitely. So this guy, he is talking about building himself, and he's talking about it in a selfish way. It's crazy because of what he's experienced when it comes down to dating. So he ain't really even big on marriage. He say he wants to be married, but just listen to, what he's saying, and y'all tell me if he really wants to be married.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, I understand the logic. I'm disheartened. That's all.
I just feel like you niggas sound like a bunch of sad puppies that want love so bad, and I want to be in love, and I want to be married, and all this shit. See, I think the total opposite. The way I think is, y'all put love first, I put women last. I focus on building myself up to the max that I can, to the point where if I do invite a woman in my life and she's not able to follow, or she do something stupid, it doesn't fucking matter. I can just leave her and I can just go bless another bad bitch. That's the difference between my mindset and another man's mindset. See, I hate when people say money ain't everything, but everything you do costs. Your house costs, mortgage costs, food costs, car costs, gas costs. Everything fucking costs. That's my pushback when people say money isn't everything, but then money is a protector as well. So if you fucking with a woman and you got your money right, and she does something dumb, or she does something that doesn't line up with what you got going on, you can just drop her ass and go get another one, because she doesn't fucking matter. You can just go bless somebody else with the same thing, and they can probably cherish it more than she had. So that's my only thing. I don't put love first. I put love last. I got tunnel vision on where I'm trying to go, where I'm trying to line my life into, and it has nothing to do with a woman. Is woman a part of the process, which I'm going through my journey? Yeah, I meet a couple women that I like. We kick it, we have fun, we go out to eat, kick or whatever. That's cool. But my main focus and objective is not marriage right now. My main focus and objective is building myself up to the highest point, and then I can invite a woman into my world so she has a program to follow.
But the other thing about that, Chi-Town, though, is if you do bring her into that world, and if you do marry her at any point, she does have that ability to walk away from you.
And then I was just finna get in there. It's funny you said that. I was just finna get in there because if I built myself up to the point where I built myself up to the man I want to be, and I did it on my own, and then a woman is able to come in and reap the benefits of what I built, I'm not fucking. I don't believe in like paperwork by the government to prove a point that we marriage and we love each other. Here we go. I believe in life partners. That's what I believe in.
Is it just gonna be religious then?
Under God.
Listen to me.
Under
if
God.
If I build myself up to the man I want to be, and that woman had nothing to do with what I had that I built, what the fuck I look like marrying you in paperwork so you can be able to get half?
Yeah. But that's what I say. You have no trust in there, no transparency, none of that.
No,
that's two things that are huge in a marriage.
Stupid. That's stupid.
That'd be dumb for me to sign some paperwork for this woman to receive half of what the fuck I do.
That's why I said don't wait that long. Try to find the one that aligns with you while you building, and then you build that equity together.
See, that's the problem. I'm not looking for a woman to build with. I'm building my own shit so I can have a woman to come into what I built. That's the difference between me and somebody else. I'm not looking to find a woman and we build this empire together and we go through this. I'm not looking for that shit. I want to build my own shit so that I can go get the woman that I don't want but need. And if she come into a situation where, look, I got my principles. I got my shit set. I already got what I got. These are the rules that I abide by. And if you can handle those rules and come in and you can do what you need to do, cool. But if you can't follow by these rules, guess what? I can drop your ass because I'm valuable enough. I can go get somebody else that can come in and fill that role.
All right.
All cap.
Now, mind you, everybody on that panel, with the exception of Hemp, was a Gen Z. That was including, you know, the
Jedi
friend
Mike.
over here at this channel over here, my man Jedi Mike. He was on there too. Jedi Mike had something different. He was the only one I think that was married on that panel. But everybody else was single and they were Gen Zs.
Jedi
So what
Mike,
you guys think?
Now, that what he just saying right there is almost similar to what you know the young generation not in the U.S. because when you see these young girls being brainwashed with American westernization way of thinking, right? That's the same content we are looking in these African church because I'm not gonna lie, I was almost going to be set up for arranged marriage, and I sung these young girls. They will pretend to be something they're not in front of their mom and their aunt. And I saw who they really are behind closed doors when they're among their peers. And my mom, throughout my 20s, had terrorized me. She would bring this person's mom to my attention. Also, her daughter wants to talk to you. I'm like, okay. She could have talked to me a long time ago. What's stopping her? The same thing happened almost every month to almost every other week. But my mom did not realize that I was watching these people's daughter from a distance when they're not around their mom, their aunt. And when they was acting, it was not the same way they were pretending to be in front of their parent and their relative. So what you ain't ready noticed is the same thing I noticed because once our women get Americanized in a way that it's unheard of, it becomes troublesome. We don't know what to expect. That's the fear that a lot of African brothers have because I don't say most of us we can be overboard hard work and we want to build something much bigger than what it is, bigger than us, so you can pass down legacy. But we don't want to do it with a particular woman, whereby, God forbid, you busting your ass for everything, and she just not doing a goddamn thing. She just sitting there like a backseat passenger just for the ride. That could be very, very frustrating. So that's one of our dilemmas as Africans, especially Nigerians. Just to let you know, Mr. Bennett.
So from the video you just played, you wouldn't blame that guy totally. If you're out there in the dating pool, because right now, what people are used to is going online looking for girls to date, right? People no longer, you're just swiping left, right, swiping. You just have like lots of women pictures, you swipe left and right. It's no longer traditional. So the society has, when you go online there, you see a lot of people's profile and you see these girls that was like, oh, if you ain't got money, I don't have anything to do with you. Lots of them. Oh, you got to have a good credit score. Oh, you got to have so thing, have so that. You have to take me to expensive restaurant. Now, what is he saying? In order to get these girls to like him, he wants to build himself, make that money, bring her into his world. So he's being defensive right now. He's creating that defensive wall, that defensive mechanism for himself. And that's the problem. Now he's getting messed up. He's getting fucked up. But that's what the society has made him be. You know, that's what, because he knows that if he gets there, he can get any woman he wants. Because he knows that relationship and marriage right now is transactional. It's all transactional.
So he's building, what he wants to do is build leverage.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the whole thing is that, okay, you come in my life, as soon as you get off the rails, I can get rid of your ass and I can get somebody else.
Yeah.
Shit sounds good on paper, but that shit don't work once you are intertwined with someone. So that's where, like, going to the point, what he has a plan, but it's not a plan for marriage, right?
No,
that is a plan for a bachelor for the rest of his life until he get old and die.
But that's what the society presents.
Right. I get it. I'm not saying that what he's saying is like egregious or something like that. But what I'm saying is that's right. What you just saying. Society has gotten him, and not just him. He's speaking for a lot of other men. Yeah. That ain't just him.
What he's created, JT, is a defense mechanism If you heard, I listened to him very carefully. He said, why should I build with a woman? Check it out. Why should I find a woman to build an empire with? Which I think when you think about marriage traditionally, you are traditionally building something together. But his defense mechanism is that I can't let her build it with me, because if she builds it with me, now she has a piece of the franchise, right? So
And
what
she
I'm
can
going to
destroy
do,
it or
man,
take a piece,
is I'm going to
yeah.
build my own empire, then bring her in, because he wants to leverage over the woman, because he fears the woman will take everything.
Yes.
So now he can say, if the woman acts weird, I can get rid of her because I've built the empire defenses, and there'll be another person that'll have to follow my rules, and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. So he's almost like in water trying to swim, but he's drowning, because I understand to a certain degree why he's thinking like that, because
Absolutely.
like I said, he listens to old Negroes like us on panels telling the horror stories.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
understand it. So a lot of it is based out of fear, concern that this is won't happen to me. So let me build my defense team together. I mean,
Yes.
that's what this is. And
Yes.
that's,
Yeah, just defense.
And then what he has in front of him when it comes down to women, right?
Right.
The pick of women. And a lot of times it can be where he's looking at them at. Like, the greatest thing about this is that, like I said, that whole panel was Z's, right? And the dopest thing in the world is for him to say, "No, I'm about to grab these cats." These are a lot of those dudes that was on there. They're not even YouTube guys, right? These young men are actual young men that he mentor, coach. He does a lot of things with. And one of the things that he see is that, yep, there's a big ass problem. So what he's doing is saying, let me bring him so y'all can hear from the horse's mouth. He even got the Generation Z females. And the craziest part, when he talked to them by themselves, then he talked to them together. And the craziest part about that was he was hoping that it was going to be a different type of conversation. But it was the exact same fucking conversation that we would have with women that's our age, and then the people that was before us. It's the same conversation.
But JT, remember the night when you did the show the other night, and I said that woman is that's the byproduct.
Yes.
When you got
yes.
these out of control older generation folks that's buck wilding out here, and then we wondering why we got girls and all of this twerking all over the place. Well, their mama was doing it, right? So what's happening is that once again, the younger generation has gotten a lot of this stuff, a lot of these hang-ups from us.
Yes,
our
absolutely.
hang-ups, our issues that we have not resolved in our own shit, we've just done what? Projected it to the younger generation, and then they're going to project the same shit to the next generation on if the cycle isn't stopped at some point in time. And that's the unfortunate part of this. But
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it was like, that was one of the reasons why when I do those panels, even though it's a lot of fun or whatever, but like the one lady I did that couldn't remember her kid's age, right?
It's a damn shame.
She's 40 something years old, and she could not remember her oldest. Remember what I said? I said that oldest child she had, she could not remember. First, she said the child was 35. Then she said the child was 32. Then she said the child was 33. And the reason, the conclusion I came up with, she never took care of that child. She never had that child up under her wings at all. That's why she couldn't. Probably none of her kids. It got bad.
She was in the streets. She was in the streets.
It got bad. Yeah. It was so, and that was a projection. She had 5 of them things. They all grown now. The youngest one, I think, was 22, 23. The oldest one was, according to her, 31 or 32 or something like that. So she was 14 years old when she had her first child. And it just kept getting worse. And she's out here trying to find a date. That was the reason why I did it. These women and these men come out here raggedy as hell talking about they're trying to date. But then when you hear their story, you shouldn't be doing shit. And now you will see the byproduct is these young folks, man. And you think he was the one on that panel, my man, and shout out to Chi-Town. He was the one that was a little more, I honest, right? The rest of them, they just they don't have a basis on how they want to present the way that they want to get on. So that's why I love when Hemp actually talks to them, because he make them comfortable with speaking on a large platform, because that platform large now, bro. He got 500 on an average watching it. So somebody that's not used to having that many eyes on them and shit like that, it's not, and being that young is something different. So once we get them talking, because we got to do it. It was the same thing on his platform. You had Black Man, he done brought his sons up there. You had my man Trey, he done brought his sons up there. You had who else? Somebody else had their kids that was up here too. But it got to the point where I said, yeah, we haven't, because that was the conclusion I came with. I'm like, damn, we ain't even really talking to these young folks. It was crazy when I really thought about it. I said, damn, this shit is scary.
Yeah, but
at least my parents, when they did talk to us, they didn't really talk to us. They talked at us.
Right.
But
JT, I'm going to drop off that panel, but let me say this. You know, you would think that with all the technology that we have today, all the things that allow us to communicate with people, that we would be connected. But the more technology we have, the more disconnected we are.
Yep.
The more disconnected we are culturally and in our own families and in our own communities. Because I dare say this, when it comes to the younger generation, I think the disconnect is so deep that we really don't know them. And I think what happens is, I, as a Gen Xer, I will use and apply what I know in the way I grew up and try to apply it to them. And that's where the problems are, because a lot of the shit that we try to apply to them, that apply to us at a different time and age, don't apply with this generation. This is a generation that is connected into computers, technology, AI, all types of shit at a whole different level. Even the way these kids are going to school, and they are adapting themselves to the non-binary stuff, the LGBTQ type stuff, the all different, let me be whatever I want stuff, right? So these kids are being hit with so many different messages every day, because we're in the information age that
like
none of us on this
overload.
panel grew up under this information age in the way they have. Right. So even though we can impart wisdom to them based on our experiences, to a certain degree, we're not living in their world.
Absolutely.
Because the things that I did as a kid, I couldn't imagine what these kids are doing today.
Right.
Shit, I can't imagine if we had Instagram when I was in high school. We didn't have all that shit. You got all your information from how many people on here, everybody on here remembers there was a time when people used to read newspapers, and you would see newspapers in people's hands. When the last time you seen somebody walking around with newspapers in their hands?
Right.
And talking about you can get you a encyclopedia at the grocery store. Nobody needs a fucking encyclopedia anymore. Yep. You got a encyclopedia on your phone. So these kids are living in a whole different way. So all we can do is try to understand them, try to impart wisdom, but also recognize that we're really not in their world.
Yep.
Which is why sometimes when we try to talk to them, they'll be looking at us sideways like, what you talking about, motherfucker? Y'all frog face looking motherfuckers.
Unless unless you have a background in IT that you want.
Right. Or unless you can develop a relationship with them. See? Yeah. So once you can break the barriers down, then you can begin to have a real conversation once you can break down the defense mechanisms that we all have. So, but Black Men Unfiltered, I got to drop off tonight. It's been a great panel.
Thank you so much for stopping by, man.
Most definitely keep it going.
We got Joshua Jones in the building tonight, man. Thank you for coming up, brother. I appreciate it, man. I want to get you some insight from you and your perspective. What are your thoughts on the show tonight, and what do you think?
Oh, this is a hard topic. We're struggling over there on Riskies. I think you guys are going to have a hard time explaining marriage to the Gen Zers. I have literally been scouring the internet trying to find a group of people that are married, at least for about 10 years, that have the capability of articulating the benefits to marriage. Strangely enough, what we're having a problem with is every time the conversation comes up, you know how the red pillars are. It's always risk, reward, and they're trying to balance it back and forth. So now when you're having a conversation and you're trying to explain, hey, look, you're going to get old at some point, right? You're going to start stacking, your house is going to start stacking up with stuff, right? You're going to want children. You're going to get to this point eventually. It's sure as heck not going to be right now. And then having to explain that to people and find some way to explain benefit. It's not the same thing. We haven't even, like, we're chipping away at it. And I don't think we're doing such a good job.
Yeah. It's right now, it's kind of like we have to just keep struggling and striving to find the right, it's kind of like fishing right now until you get a bite. And we're just going to have to keep doing it. And we have to not be scared. Just like how when we grew up, we couldn't be scared to fail, right? And that's the one thing. We just got to keep going, keep moving, and not look for instant gratification when it comes down to it.
So here's the deal, right? One of the things I always say, and I know we talk about old people, if they're asking questions about marriage, that's the opening that you can take, because now they want to receive information. So it's like when the students are ready, the teachers will appear. So, but if you're trying to push marriage on them, that's where the problems have. I was on this other panel, and the guy was, it's hard to articulate it, right? I fundamentally don't believe that there's any natural differences between men and women. We've been dancing with each other since the beginning of time. So we the dance is different, but it's still a dance. So you just got to learn. So the new terminology, I wouldn't try to teach a new Gen Z how to dance the new dance. But what I could tell them is still a dance. You got to learn the new techniques. You got to learn how to do it. But you got to understand it's still a dance. Women are still fundamentally women, and men are still fundamentally men. And we both have basic natures. And I'd be damned if anybody could tell me just because we're in the year 2000, our natures are so different. It's how we express ourselves are different. But underneath all of that shit, a woman's still a woman, a man's still a man. And you got to learn how to connect at that level, and then you negotiate the rest. And that's what I'm saying. So if I find a woman that wants to be married, I don't give a shit if it's 2024. My negotiation with her is different than it would have been if it was 1987 when I got married. Yeah.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Catch me, brother.
CBN almost got him. CBN.
Wait, first of all, don't be messing up when I get my only point of the night.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm trying to get him.
I'm actually over here clipping
somebody. Sorry, Grandpa.
No, but I mean, all we're just trying to say is, let me just end it here. But you guys see what I'm saying. So I don't see any real mystery. I'm gonna say this. I'm not an arrogant guy. I'm not one of those. If heaven forbid, if I was single today, I don't think I'd have that much trouble with women like these motherfuckers are right now.
Oh,
so I'm sorry. What? So much trouble with women like
shit you just said.
I really wouldn't, man. I mean, I'm not even. I would be just me, a toothless motherfucker with a fucking gray beard. I still do better than some of these fucking guys out there. Because these women are just women on women to me. I don't give a shit what nobody says. If the dance is different, I'll grant you that. But it's still a dance. It's still a dance.
Arpain, I'm telling you right now, I agree with you until I agree with you until a certain point. Let me I'm trying to Arpain, that's a bullshit. Let me tell you why.
Okay, tell me why.
These women today are very bold and very blunt and very upfront. Arpain, I'm gonna sit on your
game ain't gonna do shit.
Arpain, I'm gonna sit on your
game.
I'm gonna take your money. If you don't have a certain money, you can't take me anywhere. I need to know what
you're gonna take your ass anywhere anyway.
Yeah, and right. And no, you can't take her anywhere. Hey, Arpain,
her. I wouldn't take her anywhere anyway.
Yeah. Oh, you won't. Yeah, you won't make it.
You know, make it.
What makes you think I would be going after some goddamn lot lizards, man? I'm not going after those.
That's swag, fellas. He's swag.
It's more lot.
It's
It's all
not
about his
gonna make
penguin now,
it.
man. More lot
He gonna
lizards.
come with that old 1960 rap he got.
I have a question.
You got money.
Listen, I would go numb one of those chicks. I'll be numbing one of those bitch.
You can't use that lotion and ankle shit no more. You can't.
That shit is over. Yo, man, listen, man, you guys are just shitting over what I listen. It's still a dance. Yeah, we agree on that part. It's still a dance.
Yeah, but there's no disagreement.
But you ain't gonna not with your mindset. You would not, because the first time you call her darling,
oh, she out of there.
She got home.
I'm not gonna call her dog. I might call her honey. You know,
nah,
I mean,
it's over with. It's over with. It's
There-
over with.
There's
Go
no
ahead.
disagreement that it's a dance. I'll give you that one.
No doubt.
I think there's kind of the problem apparently seems to be, imagine this. You got somebody just talked about technology. You've got all of this information coming in. Go look through the panels within all of the Black communities and find somebody that's not talking about red pill stuff constantly.
Yeah.
So you've got one side. You literally only got one side of the problem being pushed in, right? But you really can't find anybody or that many. There are a few people, but it's really sparse where it comes in to represent the other side. Nobody's really talking about what marriage is.
Right.
And you're right about the concept of people not talking or not asking about marriage. They don't know to ask, and the moment they ask, they're really right at that point of marriage, and then they become ill prepared. So now we got problems with the divorce rate again.
Right.
None of us really could. We can't figure it out. Like, I'm serious. We're trying, and I think we're doing a horrible job at it.
Yeah.
Well, so here's another thing, right? We see the women talking, right? And one of the things, if you look, Pat, let me real quick. If you see the pattern, they always talk about what they want from men, right? But nobody asks them, say, well, you know what? You got this big laundry list, babe. What the fuck are you going to give the guy? And don't say what you bring to the table. Just say, for all of this shit you want, what are you willing to do? And just shut up and hear what they got to say. Because they'll give you some eliminators. That's what I'm thinking. You know, so nobody sits down there and asks. A Gen Zer can ask another Gen Z woman when she says, here's my long laundry list of shit I want from a man. Yes, well, okay, for all that good shit that you want from me, what you gonna do for that? I don't never hear nobody ask, and I never hear none of the women say.
They do ask. The ladies feel it's their right to have that, and they don't have.
So, do you ask that question?
They don't. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, what did they say to you?
You said?
What did they say to you?
She's like, I'm a lady. That's what you're supposed to do. I don't have to do anything. I'm telling you.
Okay. So did you? Well, let me ask you a question. Do you automatically say next? Do you say lose my number?
Oh yeah, I blocked them.
Oh, okay.
I blocked them. But I'm telling you that there's a lot of them like that. A lot of them.
Well, so what?
And that's how I'm trying to explain to you that they're a group of well-known male celebrity created an organization, and I'm telling you, he knows what I'm talking about. They have the banner, they have the logo. You have men who are signing up, paying membership fee to be a part of that organization because they're sick and tired of how women are demanding X amount of money before they get married. I thought it was a joke until I found out it was not a joke. I had to pull up a bunch of.
It's called the Stingy Men Association.
There you go.
Okay,
that's what it is.
Hey, can I ask a question? So, Joshua, and first of all, nice meeting you. Thank you for stopping by on the Gray Area and those other shows. I really appreciate your input in the chat. That was fun. Talk about the value of marriage, but for the kids who grow up in a stable married home, is it our responsibility to talk about the benefits, or should a lot of these people be talking about the benefits that they got from it? Because I see a lot, like I keep going back to that story with the Sierra Leone family because it was just so profound. All of those kids, 19 to 22, 23-year-old kids, talked about how much they love the culture.
Oh,
culture
you had to throw that word. You had to throw that word responsibility in there.
I'm just saying, but it's like we're saying we need to talk about the benefit, and I'm not saying we shouldn't. But if
well,
you
no, I get you. I guess this comes down to this. So forgive my terminology. Everybody calls everybody like of senior age old heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the issue. You've got the old heads. You've got like I'm 40, right? So you got us in the middle, and then you got the Gen Zers at the bottom, right?
Right.
For some odd reason, we can't seem to like bridge the gap between the Gen Zers and the old heads, and so the people my age are like stuck in the middle, like trying to basically translate. Is it a responsibility? Yeah. If you care about your community, yes, it's your responsibility to pass on the information. However, just we have a problem. Really, nobody knows of an efficient, maybe somewhat of a efficient and easy way of going about it. We just can't find one.
Right. Like I said, I'm not trying to pass the buck saying that we shouldn't be talking about, for those of us who are married, to talk about the benefits of marriage. I'm talking about the kids. So since I'm Gen X, and a lot of us on the panel of Gen X, we got kids in their 20s. They can see the benefits because they got friends who grew up in dysfunctional homes and didn't have the benefit of a mother and father and all that drama that they got to deal with on a regular basis. So I'm sometimes perturbed by the fact that they can't see, man, there is a benefit to getting married, because I see how Jenny down the street, how that family rocks over there, but I don't have any drama. Like, people talk about, my kids used to tell me about all the drama that's going on in other people's homes.
I don't think
they've never had drama.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fair assessment basically on the kids of expecting them to see things. I'll give an example just in the concept of race, right? Mm-hmm. So when people talk about, say, like the Black community or Black culture,
right?
Technically speaking, it's family culture, and you just have a bunch of families that have a pattern of similarity, and that's what they call the Black culture. But now try to explain that to somebody outside. So in my case, it's like I call it this is a horrible, shocking way of saying it. I call it the peeping Tom syndrome. I have to walk up to your window, look in your window, and watch you interact as a family for me to even comprehend it. It would be the same concept as the generation or the Gen Zers. The only way they're really going to understand marriage is to walk up to the window, married couples, look in and watch how they interact. Maybe something will relate.
But I'm saying but the kid, you grew up in that house. So you didn't have to peep in. You experienced it. You lived it. And then you look on the outside and see how your friends are operating and moving, single parent home or whatever, and you see the drama that's going on there, and you can't come to the realization. It's like, you know what? I had it pretty good. Like I said, all the drama that my girls just says all the time, all the drama that my girlfriends have to deal with, I didn't have to deal with any of that.
But did we? I grew up in a 2-parent household. My dad never explained to me like problems she might have had with mom. Mom never explained to me like any problems she would have had with dad. That wasn't for the kids. So you saw this side of it, but never the other side of it. So how do you know what it is?
But that wasn't your business. But you still learn from that example, though. You still learn. And so my question is this: since you see that there is a generational gap, and we see this, it's like if we 10 years older, it's like, oh man, you too old, you don't see. Is there examples that the wife and the husband show up to these audiences to speak to that audience from both points of view? But I think that could be something beneficial if more couples could come to the spaces and talk about that growth process that both will endure during a marriage.
Strongly agree. Do you know where they're at? Because I'm looking.
Oh, they out here.
I try to get my wife on, but she don't want to come. My wife
we had a few. We had a lady die. We had
but there are some couples. But I also think that you should go. Listen, the younger generation, that those ones who haven't really got out into the world yet, they're the ones that's looking for the answers. It's hard to convince a guy who's been heartbroken in his 20s and now he's 35 to think he can get married and build and grow. It's hard to convince those guys. Even girls, we tend to stay in relationships too long in our community. We do 10 years with just going together, girlfriend and boyfriend. We started out as kids, now we're 35, now we still boyfriend and girlfriend. That's a big problem. But I think if we can get to them early, and it's not just, oh, I'm gonna have a conversation with you today, then you go out and do it. Okay, I might have to put in 6-8 months of having this group conversation where married couples are speaking to single people who are looking to someday be married, hopefully sooner than later, because we see throughout all history, it starts with young marriages growing. Because when you get married young, one of the biggest things you want to do is buy a house.
Yep.
You want to solidify that foundation early. And when your children can come home and know they can play in the yard and they don't have to pack up their garbage bags and move out every time the lease is up, that creates a different mindset for your child. So even as a child grow, like Ms. Brother Bennett said, they go out to the community like, damn, people are fucked up out here, daddy. What's going on? It's crazy. So they get, and the kids begin to appreciate that and understand that.
Well, I will push back a little bit, Trey. I think that's part of the issue. And sometimes you just don't know how good you have it. You take for granted oftentimes that you didn't have it. Like, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like you have to either see another side or see that really dark side, or you come to an epiphany when you're like, again, when you're 35, like how many times we've seen women in these places, 30, 35 years old, talking about, okay, or when he used to get on KS's show and be like, okay, he'll ask him, were your parents married? Yeah, my parents were married 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, now you're talking about, oh yeah, my parents did it right, or they the way they operated, it was probably different than I was. So again, you have kids today. You grow up in these homes, and you don't see the problem is, I think you don't see the benefit of it, or you take for granted the environment that was created. It didn't say it was perfect. Didn't say your parents didn't have problems or whatever. That's part of marriage also.
I think
how do you deal with problems? How do you overcome scenarios and situations? How do you overcome fights and all that kind of stuff? And you stick together. So why is it always us that we have to explain? You who grew up in that home, just like our Payne's daughters grew up in this home. Now JT, I know you and your the mother of your children weren't together. Maybe that's a different situation. But I mean, like
we
in our
wasn't
Payne's
together,
case,
but we were always. Yeah, I was going to speak on that.
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen it with my parents.
Yeah. I mean, with yours,
I've always seen it, and I did I think I did take for granted that I had it better than my peers did. Right? I didn't really understand it until I actually get out there in the world. That damn, this shit was fucked up for them, but it wasn't for me. So what my parents was telling me. Some of the things that they were telling me, no, you got it, because one of the biggest things that both my mother and my father both was big on, y'all just got to fix it. It's not that serious. Mm-hmm. They both used to say that. I'd be like, no, but you don't understand. And I'm talking instead of listening. And I'm not understanding the principles that they had behind being married. It was to stay together, not because we just had to. It was because it was duty, right? That was the whole thing, was that it was duty. And my parents, they were definitely loving towards each other. They were dance partners and all that. And they actually kind of grew up together. They knew each other at 14 years old. Same age. She's 1 month older than my father. That's it. And I took it for granted because I'm looking, I can see it. Like now, being the age I am now, I'm like, hell yeah. I saw this and that and blah, 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 this and that. But I married a woman that didn't see what I saw, right? I married a woman that wasn't raised with her father. Although he was in her life, they were separate. But I wasn't. And it was conflict. And my father used to always tell me, that ain't shit. Just stick in there, right? And then on the other end, because my parents talked to her too. Her father and me, we still have a great relationship right now. He used to speak to her. And one of the things that her father used to always talk about was his mistakes that he made. And the things, because now he's married second time, and this man been married for almost 40 years now, right? So he got it together. It just was too late. But we have a chance where me and her both be like, well, okay, fuck all the bullshit. We done did the co-parenting thing. Now we have a grandchild. And we want to build it and fortify it, right? We seen all the bullshit. We made a mess of a whole bunch of shit. What we have to do to get the point across to the next generation is to show them, yes, you may make a mess of this shit, but you still, is your duty, especially when you have kids, to try to fix whatever it is that you made a mess of. It's not going to be easy, but the number one thing that we have the ability to do is to figure it out. And a lot of people don't talk about figuring it out. They always talking about what they didn't have as a kid, right? I didn't have this. My mama wasn't there. My daddy wasn't there. Now you're an adult. Then what do? Figure the fuck shit. Figure it out. And a lot of people don't speak on that shit. You know what?
Well, you showed it.
Mayday! Mayday!
That was for me. Shit. That was for me.
Listen, you showed a guy who said he wanted to get to a certain level before he brought a woman into his life. Mm-hmm. But nobody asked him the right question. One guy was trying to convince him otherwise, but nobody said to him, okay, well, first of all, you talk about you got this grandiose plan, but is it a real plan? Is it written down, or you just thinking, off the top of your head that you got to be at a certain level? Because you're just talking, right? So is it at this level, and when are you going to get there? You're going to be 40? You're going to be 35? What's the plan to get there? Because you could be chasing this dream forever. So I don't know how real that guy's dream was, but the only thing I agree with him about was that if the woman doesn't, whatever woman he had, if she wasn't willing to be on his program, get rid of her. That's the only part I agree. That's the only part I agree with. Now, I don't think he had to marry her either. I had a thing over here where I said, listen, if you don't want to get married to a woman, but you want her in your life, and you want her to, you want her, you're still going to have some kind of paperwork.
Yeah.
Or you're still going to have some kind of paperwork. She won't even be able to see you in the hospital.
So the conversation is going to have to be continuous, right? So that's the thing. It just has to be a continuous conversation.
Yeah, but he also got to stop saying all these things. Because when the guy starts talking about these metaphysical shit, I got to be at a certain level. I said, well, what level is that?
Yeah.
What level? What are you talking? What level? Because if you don't have a real plan, you just know that you're not where you want to be. That's what he's really saying.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you going to get to where you want to be? And then when you get there, how do you know you've arrived?
Most definitely.
So these are the kind of questions we need. So maybe that's the kind of question an older person could ask a guy that's younger, as opposed to telling them all how to live out here. You're giving me some shit, but now let me tell you that if that's your plan, I'm not going to you got a plan. But let me put some concrete questions to you to see if this is just you just talking shit, or do you really have a plan?
No, watch this. I got to say this. I see what Hemp was doing,
right?
Because he was talking amongst his peers, right? And it's kind of like us being the fly on the wall,
right?
That was the reason why I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to highlight some of these things that they talking about. But that's the thing, listening and making it more of a continuous thing, right? A constant thing, because we need to get more and more young folks to us, not just on platforms, but in real life also, man. I got you, Joshua. Are you finished, Arpain?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. Go ahead, Joshua.
So JT, you dropped duty on the table. This is another can of just chaos. You saw the two panels on Riskies. You saw the chivalry versus simpery.
Yep.
That one rolled into that one we had last night.
Mm-hmm.
Where they tried to actually go in on the concept of duty.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what it is.
Ooh. I watched it this morning. I watched all of it this morning at work. I watched the whole damn thing. God damn, you're right.
I had to with the chivalry thing. I had to come on. Basically, I had to come on panel and be the jerk to just throw it on the table and walk away.
Right. You did. You set a claymore out there and just pow. All right, y'all. I gotta drive off.
The problem is we don't know how to talk about it. We don't know what it is. We don't know how to live by it. We don't know anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's really that simple. See, now this is where I think the old heads could kind of come in and find some way to kind of iron that out. Like, yeah. If they could come in and just kind of iron that out and say, hey, look, this part is the bullshit where you're just focusing on society, you're going to waste your time, and these are the rules.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys could kind of really help with that by basically just, punching people with duty. That would be a little helpful.
Yeah,
let me say something about that.
They
Let me
have
say
to,
something about
for
that.
one,
Hold
it's not about yourself, right? And it was like what I was hearing, they were still talking about what I get out of it. What do I get out of it? What is, what is on the back end? What do I get? Do I get it from the front end? Do I get it from? No, it ain't got shit to do with it. Because I remember somebody raised the question of when you're doing these deeds, are you looking for compensation? Are you looking for something? And you're right. A lot of them, they was kind of stumped when it came down to it. Somebody gave an answer, but it still wasn't like something that was tangible. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like, again, and then, especially being a big panel like it is, and you got so many strong personalities where they were just coming in, and then it was like the duty part. I was like, okay, let's hear. And you're right. Nobody actually, they can actually articulate that whole thing of what duty is. And the thing is that it has very little to do with you. It has everything to do with your surroundings. So the compensation would also be, again, what you can see in your community that actually is fortified. That I think that would be the compensation, but does that really have anything to do with you? No, it has something to do with your contribution more than, what you get out of it. So, yeah. Go ahead, Black David.
When you want to talk about duty, I think one of the key factors that we keep missing out besides duty is teaching accountability and responsibility. That's what's heavily missing these younger generations, because let's be real, a lot of these younger generations talk about entitlement. When you have people who are so entitled about what they think they're supposed to have, they lack any concept of accountability. They lack any concept of responsibility. When you have those two, you'll be able to understand what duty really is. So you can't understand duty if you're not accountable, nor are you responsible. That was something we were taught in our culture. And yet, even though we had a little step back due to foreign influence, there's some families who try their best to shield their kid from foreign influence. Let me give you a perfect example. I'm part of the first generation who were born here. Like I was born here, my sibling was born in the U.S. If any kind of reason that they feel like we're getting out of hand, they just send them back to our country to boarding school. This is where international boarding schools making a lot more money than the boarding school here in the U.S. because the price for a private school here was too costly, but it's a little much cheaper in Africa. And there are a lot of great boarding schools that rival or better than the one out here. So I went to a private boarding school as well. Now, you can only block off Western identity influence as much as you can, as long as they're not watching the media, they're not on the internet, you control what they can see and read whatsoever. But other than that, but those who are in the public, when they see what they see on TV, when they see it on the internet on their mobile phone, they will emulate that thing. That's why it's kind of hard, because when you copy the mindset of being into entitled, like you deserve this, you put to have this, you put to have that, you lose the control of accountability, you lose the control of responsibility. So when they come to being dutiful in a marriage, it's foreign. It's going to be foreign regardless, either on the male side or the female side. Mostly on the female side, will be more foreign because they feel like I don't need to bring nothing to the table. I need to do it. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. Oh,
so Black David,
because I'm beautiful. Oh, you.
Mayday! Mayday! Will you please land this motherfucker?
That wasn't me. That was not me. That was
wow.
That was not me.
Can I follow up on that point a little bit? Because I think one thing that I've even seen in my household, I remember my middle daughter, she's a trip. You talk about the duty and the responsibilities and versus the entitlement. I think duty and responsibility oftentimes brings rewards. And I think those rewards the kids oftentimes associate with entitlement. Like my middle daughter, now she's got her dude, I think is her dude. If she doesn't, my concern is that she doesn't mess it up, but I think she's got her due. She met him in college, Arpain. All right. So they've been dating,
you sound like
undergrad.
Me,
so So she said to me one time that until I don't want to get married until we got this, like her lifestyle, like both my wife, myself, we come from poverty. Right? We come from poor situations. We got educations, went to school, got our stuff built over time, and I'm not saying that we're all of that, but we got that. But this is all she knows. So she's like, this is the standard. So it's like I want my life to be this. She's not trying to move back to like a 1-bedroom apartment over, a store, furniture off the street or whatever, and build from zero. It's like this for her. This is like ground zero. Now we try to tell them all the time that how we got this was all the stuff that JT was talking about: duty, honor, sacrifice, highs and lows, ride or die, for better, for worse, rich, for all of that. Mm-hmm. This is how we got here. If you want this is what you're going to have to do. But for a lot of them, because this is all she knows, she never ate, chicken giblets and rice for dinner or whatever. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or fried bologna sandwiches with the bubble up and all that.
Right after this, I'm about to go make one.
Spam. They never ate spam. Okay.
Yeah.
We ate all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Spoiled.
So yeah, I mean, my wife, like her mom would get the bologna,
crackers.
like the giant log of bologna, and slice it off every night, and that was their dinner every night with some beans, pork and beans, and some rice. They never experienced any of that. So for them, it's like, oh my gosh, isn't this normal? Isn't this how everybody, even though they know not everybody lives like this.
Right.
But for them, it's like, man, I don't want to go back to pork and beans get married, get my little apartment with rats and roaches and start over and build. They don't want to do that. So I can admit that maybe some of this is maybe on us, and that, we created an environment for them to like hopefully take it to where, are you missing out, bro?
Yeah, you are missing out.
You missing out. You missed that try one time.
I'm telling you, boy.
You gotta fry it though. Fried spam is definitely better than
there's people make whole recipes with spam.
Oh my gosh. So you talk about people who know how to cook. See, now the people who know how to cook, all this cap about cooking. Now those who really know how to cook can make spam taste like filet mignon. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you know how to cook, you should be able to take anything that's in your cupboard and make it into something that is edible. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But if you got all the ingredients, if you can go to Whole Foods and buy all your ingredients and stuff and make your stuff, I mean, it's like it's halfway. Thank you. It's halfway done for you.
Hey, can I say one thing, Mr. Bennett?
But you got to
say one thing.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing to you? I'm hoping and praying your daughter marries this guy so you can get off my case about kids getting married from college. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I want it to happen real bad, man. Now,
But that's the thing. So I think part of, so her standards is like where we are, and we're trying to tell us like, look, I hope you can start here and take it higher, but it's going to take you a while. I mean, these things take time, and I think that's what part of marriage is. Marriage is building something over time.
See, now we got to tell them that's part of the fun.
But also,
I was just about to say that.
But again, with this microwave generation, they don't want to wait for nothing.
They want to hear, man.
But also, if you're looking at it from the children's point of view, I'm not from their point of view, but if you are a mother or father and you all are looking to try to make something work out, there's no greater feeling for yourself or your children when they come to an age of understanding that they have a foundation that they can build from. And we see that, unfortunately, everybody tries to get to the end the first 6 months. They expect everything to be already laid out. The first 6 months of whether they're in a relationship, by 6 months, somebody's pregnant, they split up by the time the baby born.
Yeah.
But if we can get to a place where, hey, listen, and having conversations, because I've had to have conversations with a lot of young women and men in the high schools, and I think that's where you can really get them to sort of mold them into thinking that family is protection and it's generational wealth to be built. And they're the ones that can catapult that. Because you see a lot of people that are first generation college graduates, and they know they ain't going back to the life that they started from. And they look to have these things set in place. And so I think as far as the younger folk who had this mindset, like, I don't know, I'm scared. Listen, there is a benefit, but the money is in the bank until you have solidified certain accomplishments and goals and expectations of the marriage. You have to focus on the marriage. You have to separate. Once you get married, it's like both of y'all have to become caterpillars. You have to go into the fucking cocoon 2, 3, 4, 5 years, stay in there till you get it all mixed up and worked out. And then when you come out, you're supposed to fly. You're not supposed to be still creeping along, but you got to go into that cocoon state of mind where everything is about this family from the front gate to the back alley garage or wherever you live at, if it's in the country. For everything within that property line, the whole family is responsible for. From the dad, the mom, the children, everybody. And that's how it has to be taught. We have to sit at the dinner table. We got to have these conversations. I need to check in with the children. I'm going to check in with my wife. If she's a stay-at-home wife, she's going to check in with me. And we're going to have these conversations. And we're not going to stop until we can understand exactly what the plan is. But if you wait too long, shit, even us, man, we age the fuck out. I don't care what anybody.
Trey, to speak to that point though, and because I'm just reflecting. I was young. I was 22 when I got married. This shit was fun. We had a love seat. One love seat, a brass bed, one television, and I had a speaker. I mean,
it's probably the best time of your life.
Yes, it was, because the thing was that was my first apartment. It was her second because she was in college. I was in the military. So it was, for one, when we got married, I'm like, hell yeah, because I'm in the military. And I got tired of living in them damn barracks. I got tired of people knocking on my door, just walking in my room, borrowing shit. I had a roommate. I didn't like that shit. And going away, I didn't come back to anybody. So when I got married, when I'm gone, I got care packages. I got somebody I can call. I didn't want to just keep calling my mama and my daddy. We ain't got too much more to talk about. After one conversation, that's it. I'll talk to you in the next 2 weeks or some shit like that. But as a wife, it was kind of like, I'm about to go call my wife. And I don't know if you ever been gone away for a minute and you do letters. Letters, man, them fucking letters. When you fucked up, you get a chance to get letters. You get care packages. You get a person that you can communicate. They telling you how the house is being ran, all these different things. And if it's brand spanking new to you, man, that's all I saw. I saw how my parents was running their house, and I said, I want to do the same thing. So when it came down to it, marriage actually was fucking fun. It was funner than me being out there it's fun being, out there in the streets and partying and shit like that, but you ain't got no money. You keep giving it all to the fucking club. So now you get married. Now you learn how to budget. You don't want that same damn love seat right there. You want to get some shit now. You want a actual suit. You want some furniture. You want to get the big TV, and you want to be able to get another car, and you doing it together. One thing that I never liked was sharing a fucking car. We shared that car for about 6 months of our marriage. I don't know. Fuck this.
Man, listen,
Got
let me tell
another
you. My wife and my daughters had to use the car, had to use our cars. We commuted to work. Like I dropped her off at the office. Right. And then I drove off to work, and then one of my daughters picked her up later. That was one of the best mornings I've had in a long time, because we flirting, we talking on the way to work and everything. We, you know what I mean? Because usually in the morning, a lot of times I'm still in bed, so she'll kiss me like, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to work." Like, I'll catch up to you later, something like that. But the fact that 10-minute car ride,
yeah,
that was the love making right there,
and no damn texting. I think that's a problem too, Mr. Bennett. People text all damn day, so they ain't got shit to talk about. They can't miss each other. Nothing.
I'm saying when life was simpler, it was even more happy. When that commute again, she gets the car, you know, we kiss, she getting out, you know, I gotta tap it as she's getting out the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When she gets, I gotta reach my right hand over to, you know,
Right.
I gotta, you know what I'm saying? That was the bomb.
Yeah.
So
Hey, gentlemen, I gotta split. So I gotta split. Let me just say this.
Actually, I gotta know.
Me and my wife used to go to bed watching Seinfeld instead we went to bed laughing. You know, when those reruns at 11 o'clock. But let me also tell you, one of the things for my final thought is, you know, I cook Sunday dinners for the family. I told you guys that before, right? So on my channel, I got like 4 videos called Dinner with My Loved Ones, right? So I just take stills of how I prep it and all that. But the real thing is when my daughters come over, well, my other daughter comes over, the other one's here, we sit down, I have like I have a conversation piece that I write down and say, okay, we're going to talk about this tonight. You know what I'm saying? And then they come up with some things that they talk about. So when we break the bread, you know, we're talking about legitimate kind of things that was going on. And what you don't know, Joshua, one of my daughters is a Gen Zer. The other one's a millennial. Okay. So I get a little bit of skinny on how they're living out there. That's why I say, okay, you know, that's why I don't kind of mind my business, because I know I have to kind of relate to my kids, right? Your kids got to be young. Your kids in that generation, Mr. Bennett. So was yours. But the dinner is the thing. So today, this Sunday, you know, I'm making the steak. I got this specialty rice pilaf that I'm making, and I have asparagus to go along with it. I bought some new plates and shit that match.
With your bougie ass.
So I'm gonna take some pictures. So I'm actually make a little montage of this shit and put it on video.
Always brag.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I said you old dudes always brag.
Say what?
I said you old dudes always brag.
Hey, listen, you know what? I told my wife this. I said, full disclosure, this is how I used to get laid in college. I used to cook for the women.
There you go.
Right.
Way to anyone's hardest through the stomach. So
that's right. Take it easy.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Hey,
Joshua, I emailed you. So, you know, check out the email, and then when you do your thing, man, I used to do this for a living. What you're talking about? It's hard, but it takes time. It takes time. If you got a year or two with them, you can see a difference.
I don't do streaming. I pretty much work behind the scenes. I don't have anything to do with streaming. There's no way in hell I'd be a moderator. I just wouldn't do it.
It ain't that bad.
You can't be like a Trigger Mike, so comic collective.
You have to pay attention to too much. That I'm not really good at that whole like multitasking. I can't do it.
Yes, sir. All right, Black David, you want to go? You want to get your
final thought? This has been one of the best conversations we have in a long time. About we're being bluntly honest about what's going on in our dynamic in our backyard. And I think we need to do more in-depth conversations behind it based on other cultures besides African and African American. We had that dynamic with the Greek. It gives you a little insight what to look for, because I learned this for a long time. It's best to see what other ethnic groups are packing that working best for them and ask questions. How do you navigate through this? Or, you know, how do you approach this step? Because even I myself, when I was young, I wanted to get married at my young age, but it didn't work for me out here. Maybe if I was in Nigeria, I got married younger instead of older. But looking at today's generation, I'm seeing that they're watching us already. That is the fact. Doesn't matter where you are. My people, they're watching us. Your people are watching you guys because they see how we navigate and how we respond. Some want to get married, some like, not for me. And they want to get married, they want to change the environment. I think that's what the issue is. Once you can change that environment, maybe they might have a better advantage of getting what they're looking for. Because I'm not gonna lie, marriage is a great thing when you're with the right person. But when you're not with the right person, you feel like you're in prison for the rest of your life. I'm not gonna lie. It's both sides of the coin. It's all about vetting the right person. That's what I'm gonna say. And shout out to Suzanne Speak. It's good to see her here in the chat. Been a while since you've been up here. So you should have more of this. This is one of the best so far we had. I'm gonna say.
Eat a Man just came up in a building. What's going on, boy?
Not much, man. I saw y'all was at final thoughts. I said, let me get up here and give my final thoughts.
Before he speaks, you need to join the Ballheaded Club. Mr. Bennett.
You're looking very handsome today, brother.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me give you a formal invite to the bold and the beautiful, the beneficent, benevolent Ball Brotherhood of the BMU Network. I am the president, sir. And again, I extend an invitation to join our movement and our cause. You look wonderful tonight, and I just want everybody in the BMU universe to see what happens when brothers, make that transition. You're looking as handsome as I've ever seen you tonight, and it's just a pleasure to see you, sir.
I'm sorry, what?
I appreciate you. Yeah. I'm not one of those guys, man. When I start thinning, I let it go, bro.
There you go. See, let it go. Let it go.
And move on.
I be seeing some of these guys. It's like the Alamo, right? It's over. It's over. It's the Alamo. It's done. It's give it up.
He be spraying that fake hair,
or that coloring stuff to cover up the bald spots.
I was like, there's no reason you supposed to be paying no barber $75 unless there's some fake going on up there.
Ladies and gentlemen, see. E-Man has done my advertising for it. I don't have to say much anymore. You see what happens here. You see the freedom. You see the liberty, the lift off his shoulders. At this time. So again, I'm just
no stress.
Very emotional right now.
A new member of the 7BBBB.
He hasn't accepted the invitation yet. He has to accept.
Again, it's granted. I mean, I hope you do accept it, brother.
I accepted the invitation when I saw.
You got to.
There you go. There you go.
You might grow it back.
Changing YouTube. We're changing the internet one head at a time. And I'm just glad to have this brother in particular.
Happy day. Happy day.
So this is how we're gonna do it, guys. Now we got Edaman Williams on board with us. It's just momentum. It's just gonna take off.
Yes, sir.
Joshua, there's still hope for you, my brother.
Josh?
So again, we'd love to invite you to the ranks, brother. But you see all this just surrounded, just surrounded.
Yeah, man.
I cannot shave my head. My head look funny. I look like Billy Blank. If I
You
shave
look
my head.
beautiful,
Sorry.
my brother. See, that's the narrative. See, we got to get this out of our community, man.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
You gonna be in the community
I'm
whether
looking
you
for you
want
right
to
now,
or don't. You either do it voluntarily or involuntarily.
Oh God!
Hey fellas, I need to jump off too. Let me just say real quick.
Okay.
Just
Only
on
the
top-
Black on Filter Network where we had these kind of jokes going on.
on the topic itself, again, I don't see an issue with guys certainly marrying younger, but again, younger doesn't necessarily mean better or innocent. I mean, especially with how women are influenced, you just got to find someone who's just ready for it, And I think, and as a guy, I think you have to be ready for it. You don't have to be 30, 35, I don't think, but I think you have to, have to want this and be supported. And I think that's one thing we can all do. I mean, we're talking about solution. We can all be more supportive. That's why I hate when you used to have these beefs in on these streams about different marriage styles or whatever, whether you marry partners or were you, the more traditional trad wives and whatnot. Look, we need to be supporting marriage however it is. And try to learn from each other in terms of how to do it. Yeah. So I don't mind it, but I really think that, we have to give our kids a certainly something to model. And again, our kids, I'm not going to jump off this. Our kids need to also recognize what marriage did for you. If everyone's asking why should I get married? What did your parents' marriage do for you? If it was positive, then you're the one who needs to be talking about it, and you're the one who needs to be considering that. And because there was a while where my kids were actually saying, "Man, is there something wrong with us?" I mean, this one of them again, they're like 12. They didn't understand anything, but they would like literally say, "Is there something wrong with us? Because everybody else has the drama, we don't." So that peer pressure was like, I would rather have the drama so I could fit in, versus recognizing, no, we got it good. So I'm not gonna take the responsibility off of young people to recognize the benefits. If you got parents that have been married 30, 40 years, you should have no excuses or should be buying into this stuff about, all what everybody else is saying about marriage. You need to be able to look at your own life and say you benefited from that, your siblings benefited from that. And so we shouldn't have to convince you that, please get married or whatever. But unfortunately, I think social media is having a lot more influence over our kids than us. But they have to come to a realization that, look, marriage is good. It was good for me. It would be something I would love to emulate in my life and carry this tradition on with my family. If you love those Thanksgivings and family gatherings or whatnot, hey, you should want to propagate it. So that's all I got. But I'll catch you guys hopefully Sunday, Gray Area. Me and Grooming will be kicking it then. So hopefully we'll see you guys 9:30 Sunday night. Take care, guys. Have a good night.
All right there. My man. Mr. Bennett, the Gray Area, Sunday, y'all. Absolutely. My man E-Man, what's been going on with your partner?
Not much, man. I came to shed a little light. It's hard for me to come at the end of the show because I'm going to come with some controversy, but I'm just going to lay it out and let everything go. But first of all, can y'all guys hear me? I want to make sure y'all guys hear me before I get to cooking. Right? Y'all guys hear me good? Okay,
we got you now. Yeah.
All right. So first thing I'm going to say is these streets ain't good. These streets ain't good for the men or the women. So for us to tell the young men to delay, go into these streets, mess with all the ratchet hoes for 35 years, and then what we want you to do is your mind to be made up that you can see what a wife is. It's horrible advice. What we need to be telling them, because this is what I'm telling my daughters. I think my daughters should be married before 21. They should be married as soon as possible. They should have at least amount of time. And if I had sons, everybody know I have all girls. But if I had sons, I will be giving him the exact same advice. Keep him away from the streets. It's proven that the streets doesn't do nothing but destroy these kids. So for us to tell our kids to go into these streets and mess with these raggedy hood rats and then tell them to go find a good wife is just bad advice. So you know what? Young people, to really fix our community, young people need to be getting married to young people, right? Go into college. It's a reason why other races say a ring by their junior year. I think before these kids are coming out of college, before these kids are actually going into adulthood, they should already have a marriage-minded person to build their life with. I guarantee you they'll be 10 times wealthier than somebody wait till they're 35. I don't care what their gender is. And it's a proven fact, but we still neglect it because we get in our feelings. The reason my daughters want to get married because me and my wife is a perfect example of what you can do in marriage. They seen us build this together. That's why they don't frown upon it. If your kids frown upon marriage, you need to really take a look in the mirror. You need to really take that time to digest is that, was I that bad of an example of what marriage is that they don't even want to do it?
Right.
And then that's when the parents have to do a certain level of self-reflection.
Yeah.
They see us. So if they don't want to get married, I mean, we failed in that household. So
100%.
So that's the thing is, I don't think 35, and I'm not knocking if a dude 40 and you want to go talk to a 20-year-old, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if I can get two 19, 20-year-olds that's on the same page going into the same direction, I promise you, is nothing can stop that couple. I don't care how much money that 35 to them building, they can outbuild that person at 35 with a whole bunch of money. Trust me, I done seen it happen over and over again. Take your sons out the streets, and I promise you, he'll be able to accomplish a lot of things. That's all.
These hoes ain't loyal. You gotta fight.
Yes, sir. He just came in here and just dropped the shit.
Yeah, man. What you're speaking is true to the core, and it's unique because you speak it from a man's point of view, and you can see how it benefits. And I don't think most men who are in your position are out here. Well, I would hope not just saying, go out. Because I have a 21-year-old son. And his dilemma to me is he's like, Dad, I'm looking, but I ain't looking. But the ones I'm running across, they are quick to want to just jump into bed. They're quick to want to just go to,
He said it on this panel. He was saying it on this panel. One of your
Yes,
sons was saying it on this
sex,
panel.
not so much. He ain't getting to what they in the YouTube song like the money. It's about the money because he's young, he's focused. And I've been telling them, I guess, since he's about 20, 19, I say since he was a senior, like, you go to college, you should be looking to settle down, get married, find out what you want to do, and grow together. But then when I come to these YouTube spaces, from what I'm hearing, if most of the men who are not even engaging with women at all, what I've said is, why spend the next 10, 15 years chasing certain types of women who are not giving you that day and time? Why not take advantage of other opportunities, whether go 4 hours in the direction, it's women there, you get a passport, it's women there. Don't spend 20 years talking about what you will not do and how bad it is if you haven't even given yourself an opportunity to see women from other cultures. So I think that's where men are sort of getting bind right there because they're stuck based off listening to American pity, American grief, American pain, hurt, and just get out living in the world.
So I think parents have a responsibility in the dating market that we don't talk about. I purposely make friends with parents that have male kids around my kids' age. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I purposely say, wouldn't it be cool if I put my daughter, not saying that I'm gonna do an arrange, but wouldn't it be cool if I was just in the same room and we was friends and they happened to do all the summer events together? Wouldn't it just change my daughter's perspective? Well, I see this guy that's a good guy, and he's my age.
You
I see this
expose
guy.
them to the right things, right? That's exposing them. Yes.
I think we don't like in this space when we say control. I think you're supposed to control what your kids see.
Yes.
And I can tell you, if you was making friends with a whole bunch of married couples who had good daughters who wasn't out here in the streets, your son would have a whole different view. And it's like, no shot on you. That's not what I'm saying. He would have a whole different view on what women looks like. The reason that when you ask my daughters about the negative of men, they don't see it is because I don't bring negative men into their space. So they think that that's YouTube stuff, but they think that's social media stuff, but they feel like our circle is different because we always bring positive young men and parents into our spaces. And I think we have forgot how to network and marry. I know we talk about networking for business purposes, but it's a network that you could do in marriage too that we don't talk about.
Man, y'all just don't know how much y'all just done made another show with another couple. I just thought about 5 different shows, man. That right there, what you just talked about, intentional, right? What Mr. Bennett just said earlier, being intentional when it comes down to being parents, right? But also with the kids, it's our responsibility as kids to, if we had parents that was married 40 years old, to actually understand what that mean, right? And I was speaking just as myself as a parent. I had parents that was married for 54 years, right? And I was like, damn, I kind of dropped the ball on some shit because it was something that I got from them. I got it now, but shit, I'm 51 years old. I could have did a whole lot more with what I experienced by my parents because their marriage it had more to do with me and my brother and my grandkids and my kids than it had to do with them. They built that so they can build a legacy through us. So the marriage wasn't them experiencing it. It was us experiencing being kids in that marriage. That's why you would hear people saying, well, I was fucked up because my daddy wasn't there. I had a broken home, all those different things. That was their experience. I didn't have a broken home. I had a home that was intact. Me and my father was always together. There was a time, it was never, I can't even think of a time where I was away from my father more than 2 weeks until I got grown. That's how crazy it was. So, you know, what you guys are saying, man, it's like I'm reflecting off of it. I'm like, damn, I get it now. So and I'm just going to put this full circle. Mr. Payne came up and he was talking about initially, you know, dating older men, younger women and all that. But it just got to the point of marriage because we're in a deficit of people that don't even understand concept. They don't have principles when it comes down to that. They talking about being married at 35 and having kids at 25. The shit is backwards. That's crazy. So what you just said, Eat a Man, absolutely. If you're going to be serious about making business and all these different things and networking like that, why not network for your children? Expose them to the best. Just like you would expose them with the best schools and all these different things, expose them with the best community, the best people, so they can have a pick of men that are feasible for them. They grew up with them. They know them. It's crazy to get out here and date somebody that you don't know, that's a stranger. It's way easier to date somebody that you can date through networks. Way easier. So why wouldn't we do that for our kids? We do it for our friends. So I 100% agree with that, man. I 100% agree with that. When it comes down to it, man, we just got to start changing. I'm talking about all of us as parents that have children, especially if your parents are, if your kids are young. Would you say, Trey, now is the best time? Now is the best time. We see the problem. Let's do something. What you just said, man, Eat a Man, that shit just made me get to the point where, Black Man, you already know, we about to have a couple of more shows, bro. We about to rock out. You guys had dropped some gems, man. Most definitely. I hate you came at the end of the damn show, though, bro.
He always come in stirring up the pot.
Yeah, but it's all good, man. We always had these great conversations and things like that, man. I always respect you, bro. We can go back and forth. We can argue, whatever it is, but I always have great conversation with you. Trey Ferg, you my homie, bro. Most definitely, I'm glad that I met you. I'm glad I met all of y'all. Black Man Unfiltered, I'm glad I met you. CBN, I'm glad I met you, man. We're going to continue this conversation. I know next week we definitely going to be rocking. I don't know what Black Man, but I'm telling you, he's looking at the shit that we've been talking about on these shows. And brother, it's about to go down, man. We about to have some more great conversations. What's up, Trey?
JT, before you go, and this has nothing to do with what we've been talking about.
Go ahead.
I would say last night was probably the funniest damn show I've ever seen on YouTube about that one story. JT, the story you told about you going to the military. That shit was, man, I don't know if you heard it. I hope you know. Hey, man, it's the funniest military story ever.
Yeah.
It wasn't recorded, JT. It was recorded.
Yeah, I got to record. I'm going to cut it out.
Man, put that out there, man.
You know when Eat a Man know what a shakedown is. He know what a shakedown is.
But Eat a Man don't know the details of your shakedown.
Yeah, my shakedown was terrible. I was that one. And I guarantee that was almost 30 years ago. I guarantee somebody else, probably about another 100 people told that same story because it was funny to everybody. My mama packed me up, and I'm just going to put it like this. My mama had packed me like I was going to college instead of the military. So, they give us that little list of everything you should have that was there.
Fuck that list.
She said, fuck the list. She gave me that, and I had 2 luggages, man. I had 2 suitcases. 2 suitcases I took there. They did a shakedown. I'm sitting there, and it wasn't just me, but I was the only one that was in that platoon that was in the shakedown, and they had me to dump all my shit out. Man, I was so upset. The damn drill sergeant just dumped my shit out and broke I had cologne. I had goddamn suits in there. I had a suit bag. My mama packed me up. It was so fucked up, man. They try to make me bear hug. You know when they tell you bear hug your stuff. So I got military shit and I got my own shit. I had to throw some of that shit away, man. I had 2 damn bags full of shit. So they was telling me that I had to bear hug all my shit.
Yeah, throw most of that away. You talk about some of it.
But
most
before
of that went
then,
to
they was having a good time with me because I went there, they said, bear hug all your stuff. So I'm trying to grab everything up and trying to bear hug everything. Everybody just look at, they was like, look, we're going to be here all day until Private Dunlap get all that stuff up. And then they just laughing. You know, it's probably about 6 or 7 doggone drill sergeants that was there. I just got to the point where I broke down. I was just like, nope, I'm not touching that shit. They came all hollering at me. So then one of well, all of them was hollering. They said, beat your face. They beat your face, Private. Get down and beat your face. I sat down and I started hitting myself on the face. I said, it's longer than that, man. But yeah, that story, I'm gonna cut it out, dog. Yeah. I'm gonna cut that one. I'm gonna cut it out and post it.
So my grandfather was a first sergeant, so he told me, don't take nothing. Everything the military need, they gonna supply
give it to you. Yeah.
He said don't take nothing. So I'm there. I show up. I ain't got nothing on the list. And this pissed the drill sergeant off. He was like, "You telling me y'all can't follow one simple goddamn list? How you gonna wash your hands? She ain't even got no goddamn soap." Like, so I show up with nothing. I just show up literally just smiling. This, that. I have somebody like JT who got all this stuff. The next thing I know, I hear the drill sergeant say, "It's Sergeant Smith." I mean, it was like, no, he was PFC Smith because he had JRTD. PFC Smith. PF Smith, I don't think I heard was half right, face, front leader right position, move. And they literally had us in push-up position while we got PFC Smith trying to pick up all his stuff. And we sitting right there. We beat the hell out of PF Smith. As soon as we got back to that room, we were so mad at him. I was like, who told you? She's like, my mama. It's always their mama. Like, my mama told me I was doing this stuff.
They love us, man. They love us. And that was, look, I tell you what, I never was ate up ever again in the military. I never had a moment that was embarrassing no more. I became one of the best damn soldiers that they had. In every unit that I went to, I was standing out because of that. And that was because of that moment that I had coming in that motherfucker with all that goddamn shit. Like, dog, I had loose leaf paper. I had packets of loose leaf paper. I had stamps, postage stamps. My mama had packets like I had spiral goddamn notebooks, pens. Them motherfuckers was stumping all on my shit, man. I had some brand new house shoes too, and a robe. I was so mad that motherfucker kicked my damn house shoes.
Yeah,
man.
man.
Like, what the fuck is this shit? And he kicked my shit. I was like, man, this shit is disrespectful. I want to leave.
I showed up with nothing. I felt one of the drill sergeants felt so bad. He gave me a bar of soap. He was like, "Man, here you go, man. You got help." He said, "I can't give you no toothpaste."
I came with everything.
He was like, "Man, I ain't with nothing." I literally just showed up. I was like, "It was like, what you brought?" I said, "I brought myself."
Yeah, I'm here.
Grandpa knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
Oh, he set me up a failure too. I should have had the list. I ain't gonna lie. I should have had the list, but it was not as worth as PFC Smith. He got it worse than me. And then they gonna make me his battle buddy. I said, now I gotta walk around with this dude who decided he wanted to bring cologne. Who the fuck he thought he was going to a dance or something? I was mad at Smith was so long.
Yo, some people think it's summer camp.
Then they gonna make PFC Smith the platoon sergeant when he tell us what to do. I was pissed off at him. I was so pissed off at him.
Yeah, that's the worst shit. That is the worst shit, man. But all right,
he
fellas,
didn't know
we
no
about to get
better.
up out of here.
All right.
And I appreciate everybody, man. Black Man Unfiltered. Take us out, homie. Love you.